Welcome to the Roeland podcast. I am one of your hosts, said Roel Navarrete.
I
am Roel Navarrete. And so, we have here today none other than Logan Damme. Logan Damme is a Roelander. He comes from the era where, it was like kind of a golden age for Roeland, where there was like Hunter, we had Colt. Jeremy, would you say he's part of that era?
Yeah, Jeremy's definitely part of the golden era. Sure.
Caden Belding Thomas. So he's part of a good class.
You laugh at that.
No, okay, that's gonna look really bad. I don't hate Caden Belding Thomas.
He's my favorite Roelander.
He's a caricature.
He's just like a very, oh my gosh.
He's a living caricature.
This is gonna be twisted to Will hates Caden.
That's gonna be the headline.
But
I so wish there was a student paper. And like there's some like, oh my god, I can't give examples, but there's examples of in high school TV shows where there's like the paper, and then like one of the characters will see the paper, their name is like there's a rumor on the headline over there. What? That's bullcrap, Stacy. Like that. Unfortunately, we don't live a high school musical.
No one reads papers.
2000 year. Friggin' who reads newspapers anymore?
I mean, the only way I read papers is through like digitally.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so the theme for today is leather jacket and sunglasses. We it's the greaser look for all those who watch The Outsiders.
Well, it's a movie too.
Yeah. At every high school girl that was like that gushed over the Outsiders movies, and they're like, oh my god, I want to live that lifestyle. That is so cool.
People said that?
No.
In middle school.
We read it in high school.
Yeah,
I read it. I read it twice, once in middle school and once in high school.
Oh, yeah,
we read that book and then also To Kill a Mockingbird. So when those two books came out in high school, I was like, I already read these.
This is really distracting because I'm trying to look in your eyes and I just see a reflection. I just see a reflection of me. I just feel like I'm talking to nothing.
The person who wears sunglasses inside.
I just feel like I'm talking to like Stevie Wonder. It's like you're blind.
Stevie Wonder is
He's not blind. There's a video of him catching a mic stand as it's falling down.
And then there's like Shaq. Shaq was like on like this talk show or whatever, and he gave like this anecdote about how like he was in an elevator in like this apartment, like high luxury place or whatever. And then like Stevie Wonder like walks into the elevator and just like looks at Shaq and goes, "Yo, what's up, Shaq?"
No, he does not.
He actually
no.
Is it like I'm not familiar with this. Is it like his act that he's blind?
Yeah. It could genuinely be just like all fake.
Yeah.
Just how do you catch a mic stand when you're deaf?
Yeah, like someone like knocked the mic stand over and he just like reaches out and catches it like freaking Spidey sense.
Was that like a intent? Like, did it look like it was an accident and he just like actually just went for it?
Well, I mean, like it wouldn't matter.
He just straight up caught it.
It could have been like complete reflex, like he catches.
Well, yeah, but it could have been like rehearsed where he like drops it and then he knows like where to get it.
He doesn't knock it over though.
Who does?
I don't know, some other dude who was like walking by.
Oh yeah, that could have been like just like a rehearsed thing where like, hey dude, that'd be funny if I knocked this stand over, but it's gonna like come down here, so grab it when you'll know when I knock it down.
Did he make a sound when he knocked the mic over?
I don't know.
Because if so, then I could see that. But it's just like he like looked at it is the thing. I don't know. It just looked.
I would need to see the video.
There was also like another person who I forget who it was, but somebody else was like on like a radio like talk show or something like that, and they're like waiting for Stevie Wonder to show up. But then Stevie Wonder shows up like driving the dude's car that was waiting on him. Like he just like showed up just driving a car.
And I genuinely don't know what's up with him.
I feel like it's either a sketch or it's fake.
I feel like it could go either way. It could be all a meme and it's like videos like scened out and he's actually blind. Or it could just be genuine like scandals where he actually has not been blind this whole time, which would be really funny.
I bet it just started out as like maybe like a joke or just like something to get more like attention. But then once like attention was brought to it, he couldn't stop pretending that he was blind.
Because if he goes out and says, "Yeah, guys, I'm not actually blind," like all of his viewership will just it'll go really up because everyone will be like, "Oh my gosh, he's not been blind this whole time."
Well, then if it's like he's blind, that's his shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Stevie Wonder isn't relevant anymore.
That's
I mean,
true.
that's true. Yeah, he isn't. Yeah, he could come out and say it now.
I thought he died.
Yeah, he could have, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
wouldn't
haven't
know.
heard Stevie Wonder in a fat minute. Anyway, so I think it's worth mentioning some new things going on because this week we had planned out, like a whole bunch of different guests for this week.
hmm
We started out with, it was Connor Freetag.
Yeah.
Connor Freetag. We have Connor Freetag, but that's still happening. I think that's going to be episode 10.
I just had to sign an NDA for that. What the frick?
No. But for his guest star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his co-guest
His
star.
guest star, yeah.
You know where you are.
I would. Okay.
Anyway, so we have Connor Freetag, and then we have a Connor Freetag's partner in crime, the mysterious second guest who Connor Freetag mentioned like at last minute. He's gonna make an appearance on that 10th episode, I think.
Yeah, because he said I think 3 weeks
3
in
weeks.
advance, which would be the 10th.
It would be the 10th, yeah. So then we were like, okay, we'll get.
Well,
we mentioned the other guy.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Sure.
So for number 9, we had scheduled, because we like to schedule guests like a few
Yeah.
weeks prior. We had scheduled Joaquin Fox. He's a senior who graduated a few years ago, and he's pursuing a rap career.
Mhm.
We wanted to do one with him, but he was just unavailable.
Right. We had the idea of getting like a speaker here and playing a lot of his songs and have him like do commentary on it and see like what his perspective of his
Yeah.
music is.
Like Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Because his music is
It's very-
unique. It's very unique.
It's unconventional for sure. It's not contemporary.
Mhm.
But I don't know. He said on the group chat earlier that he didn't want to, which we respect. He said that he didn't want to come on and possibly contract and spread corona at my place.
Because he works at Walmart.
Yeah, he works
so-
at Walmart. But I was a little confused because I was under the assumption he knew that you come to
Yeah,
the house.
yeah, I
Because
know that.
that's all the other guests. Maybe it's like, Karen from SpongeBob where you wheel him in like this TV
Yeah.
on wheels and shit. I don't know. But that's what they did for Edward Snowden on the Joe Rogan podcast. Have you
Really?
seen that?
Didn't he show up? Didn't he show up once in person though?
I don't know, but there's this one podcast where they just have him on like a Skype call.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, because he's stuck in an embassy
Yeah, like when
in Russia.
it's like when the teacher like rolls in like the cart with like the TV on it, but it's just Edward Snowden.
It's Dave Henning. Dave Henning is the next Edward Snowden.
Dude, we have a Dave Heading call tomorrow morning,
Oh, we do? What time?
10 a.m.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm
And then we
looking
also
forward
have
to
a
that.
band recording. We have a band meeting
Oh,
at
okay.
1:30.
Is it a meeting or is it really just a hangout?
Well, there is gonna be a show reveal at 2:10. I know.
A what?
A show reveal, so like what the show is
Oh,
for next
okay.
year. I already know.
Wow.
You.
Yeah.
Do you
'cause
think it's gonna
I'm
happen?
higher up.
Do you think marching band's gonna
I
happen?
don't know. I really, because I don't. Okay, band camp will not happen. I don't think. It'll probably be delayed, or we just won't do it, which will be very hard to do. Because band camp is when we like get like a lot of the first part done, which is normally like the hardest. So it would be tough to do. I don't know.
When is band camp? Like when is that normally?
Some July.
It's like, isn't it like 2 weeks before school starts?
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah. So like
it's
ending
close
of
to when-
July,
yeah.
beginning of August.
Yeah.
Around there.
it's a lot of work. It's
It
hard work.
sucks.
It
It
sucks.
sucks. I hate
Isn't
my
it like
life.
from like 8 to like 5 or something?
8 to
like that?
4.
Eight to
something
4. It
like-
makes
yeah,
me
it's
want-
like a school day.
It makes me want to die.
I mean, not to sound like a lazy bum, but like it really can be a lot when you're just marching and you're basically just walking around in formation.
Yeah.
But like you're out in like the hot summer sun for
It gets
periods on
hot,
end,
dude.
yeah, and doing those movements and doing the repetitive motion. So it gets real, and you're using, if you're playing instruments, which
You're also
You're like,
exhaling.
Yeah,
like
know,
winded constantly.
Mhm. I mean, I think countless people have like passed out, like just from my 3 years of playing in band.
Uh-huh.
Like some girl had a solo for our most recent show, and I think like it was like the last show we did, and she was like, I think she was about to pass out and she couldn't finish her solo. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
I thought someone
in the
was.
zone.
I thought someone else was like gonna like pass out, and they were like, and I just saw like as we're marching out, you know, I'm hyperventilating, I'm gathering my breath, and I just looked to the side, and someone is going, and they're like, get out of the way, you know.
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know.
Have you ever passed out?
No, I haven't. I've never passed out.
Me neither.
You know, I actually only have to march for 1 year. Because
Yeah.
I joined in sophomore year marching, and then junior year
Oh,
I
yeah.
became drum major, which, I mean, it's definitely a lot better than having to march. But I kind of miss it too. Because I'm having to stand on this really high ladder
Yeah.
that's like shaking because the two drum majors, they got to have their awesome pristine.
Hey, you'll get that if
yeah.
you have one. Have a marching
I
band.
don't know. I'm kind of connected to it now, though. I named it Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Because the two shorter, pristine ones are called Jarvises. And I thought, okay, let's make them all J's. And Jeremy Scott's a pretty tall guy. And also, in honor of Jeremy, well, I'll call him Jeremy. And so now I have a connection, so I might not even dip him.
Have you seen that about? Oh, just think about Jeremy and him moving. Connor Freitag. I saw this story where
Yeah.
he's like moving.
Peace out, Beatrice. I don't know. I thought it was a joke.
I think.
But then Connor Kelly said it wasn't.
I don't know.
And Connor Kelly's tight with Freitag.
Yeah, but I don't. What if this is like a meme in amongst them?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
What do you? What?
I guess you'll just have to ask him when he's on the podcast.
Yeah, when
He just clowns us on the podcast.
I don't know. I am curious though.
Well,
Why is it your senior year?
I think it's a joke. I don't think.
I don't think it. Yeah, I mean, I get if you move your freshman year, your sophomore year, your junior year. I guess
that's
if
like
you
a
have
little
to, but you're like your last year at high school.
Yeah.
Like you might as well just. Your parents and yourself might as well just toughen it out.
Yeah, Tyler Emery.
Oh jeez.
He walked through the DQ drive-thru a few days
Really?
ago. Yeah, everyone still remembers him because he used to work there for like a few weeks, and then he dipped to
weeks?
work at
Few
and
weeks,
then he dipped to work at Walmart.
Oh yeah. I there's those there's some workplaces that are just iconic for the people who work there.
Mhm.
Tyler Emery, Walmart, Colton Dakey, Logan, Simon, Runza.
Sorry, Devin, you're not iconic.
Devin
with
Buzza.
he's not iconic.
No,
not.
when I think of Runza,
I don't
the
think of-
employees, I don't think of Devin, and that's like not trashing on him. It's just I don't see him working there as much as I see the other three working.
I like whenever I pass by. Okay, before lockdown happened, every time I would drive by Runs, I would just see Representative Colton Dakey
Yeah,
behind the
it's-
stand.
Colton
all the time.
Dakey was there
He's
much.
actually like an NPC that
Yeah.
stands. Okay, for viewers at home, an NPC. You guys know when you play like Skyrim or Grand Theft Auto or NBA.
Or like Minecraft with the
Minecraft.
Minecraft villagers.
Minecraft
Yeah,
mobs.
you know those
Yeah.
characters that just like they're always at a specific location and they always say the same stuff.
You
Same
can
dialogue
easily predict,
options.
yeah, you can like type up on Google what's all their dialogue options, and you'll see it just in a
Yeah,
list, and
it's-
you know what they're gonna say. That's what an NPC is. It stands for non-playable character. And so people who you know what they're gonna do and they're predictable and they're bland, they're NPCs.
Okay, well, okay.
Not predictable, bland.
Okay, not bland, not bland.
Hot take. Roel Navarrete trashes on Caden Belding Thomas and now Colton Dakey.
Okay, not bland, but like
I just say predictable.
predictable.
Their
Yes.
Colton's for a long time. Colton Dakey's location and schedule was very predictable.
Like I'd see him at Runza,
Yep.
and he'd do like the same thing. Sorry, Colton, but you might be an NPC in our simulation.
It's all like the Matrix.
I swear, dude, if like if this world is actually a simulation, I might freak out. I know I'm a human.
Well, that's the thing though, is that like there, it's like how do you know? Because it's so hard to like imagine that like everyone that you pass by on like the street
Hmm.
like is like seeing like a life like through their own eyes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is
And
hard
it's
to
not
believe.
just like your
Right.
head.
You know, that's something like philosophers from centuries have thought about, probably
Mhm.
millenniums. Sometimes I feel like, you know, when God is making someone, they're just like, oh, let's here's some filler people. Let me actually create some like people with substance in it, you know, sprinkled around.
Yeah.
Main characters.
Just like it feels like a lot of people just don't have a lot of substance to them, and they're
Yeah.
just there to be there.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm gonna be real. What's the most that I'm not gonna name any names, but
Okay,
you know,
I thought you
no,
actually
I was thinking about it.
What's the most thing? Max Byron's He's an NPC.
Okay, but like just some people you see in your class, like how
Yeah.
meaningful are they gonna be? Or even like people I've seen in elementary school that don't go to like high school now.
Mhm.
I guess John
Yeah,
Jansen. John Jansen kind of came. I mean, that's one day I moved from
Yeah.
or transferred from Lewiston. That's the most I saw from him, and now he's gone.
John Jansen was just like this kid in my guitar lessons who took or who got from the same guitar teacher, and like every single concert he'd be like, "Hey, whoa, we hanging out," and be like, "Oh no, sorry." And that was just like that was the only
Shut down.
dialogue.
Shut down.
Well, it's just like I was kind of shy back then, so I didn't like to hang out.
In an
But-
alternate reality, we all could have hung out with the same dude.
We all could have.
I remember one of like the most vivid memories of John Jansen from elementary
no.
school was like there was like this Minecraft, like this TF2 Minecraft server
What?
that like
Oh
That-
yeah, yeah.
Oh yes, I've played that. I've played that.
Yeah,
like,
I've played
I
it,
forget. I think you might have like actually like told me about it, and like I put in the IP or whatever, and like I'm gonna hop on and play, and I played it, and then like somehow John Jansen like knew about it. I might have like told him because he was like, I have Minecraft. I was like, really? You should play sometime. But then he was like, yeah, I got on that Minecraft server and you weren't on, and they just said cuss words at me. I was like, okay.
John Jansen has gotten the most, I think, name like call outs on the Roeland podcast.
Besides Elon Musk and the one topic I talk about a lot that I refuse to say now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The one topic.
hmm But people we know, the people that know, people that
Oh, right.
like we know.
We should just have like so edit this in, Roel. Add in every time we mention John Jansen.
A counter.
A
Like,
counter.
Oh
John
my
Jansen
god!
counter.
Are you kidding me?
You would have to
That
watch
sucks. I'd have to watch
every-
like 7 hours of footage.
Well,
It'd
so
be like,
Just hope.
John Jansen. Oh, there's one. I'll write that one on the notepad, and I'll go back into a dormant stage. And then when I hear John Jansen again, I'll wake up.
well, that's only what like 8+ hours of a podcast you gotta listen to.
Yeah,
You
I'm
just
not
hope that
good
you don't miss
outside.
Yeah.
There's definitely gonna be.
There's gonna be some
yeah.
fan in the comments be like, "Action, Roeland super fan 1028.
Ashton Barber.
Excuse me, this is a John Jansen mention you did not put on."
It was at 8 minutes and 26 seconds and
On episode
15
two.
milliseconds on episode 2.
John Jansen.
And John
listens
Jansen
to
is
these.
mentioned.
You should have John Jansen on the podcast, dude.
That'd
That would
be.
be hype. But he doesn't remember me for sure. Because, like, our
I
encounters
don't
were
know.
so minimal.
I actually don't know how he would feel about me if I were to hit him up.
Does he not like you?
We didn't really end
there-
on a good note.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Won't guess.
Oh, do you know? Like,
I not like really. I remember you saying that like you didn't end on a good note.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
that's all you
So-
told me, but you know, I don't know. Well, we probably should talk about
Yeah,
it.
you're gonna.
Oh,
you're
no,
gonna
I'm free to
drop-
talk about
Are you
it.
gonna drop it?
I don't
I'm-
know. That's kind of.
it's not that.
That's
It's not
kinda-
bad.
Is John Jansen gonna find the podcast? I mean, he could, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's not.
he
It's not like.
could.
It's not like. It's not bad. Just I mean, it's not. I'm not gonna try and Connor Looters this and make this seem like a bigger than it is story, but
Okay.
you wouldn't
Okay,
get it.
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
just skip that.
so I mean, just what happened with when I was so I mean, I was thinking about transferring to Beatrice for a long time in 8th grade because I'm entering high school and I'm thinking of all the opportunity that Beatrice has to offer, like just performing arts, because at Lewiston it's a very agriculture based school, and knowing me, I'm not an agriculture guy. I mean, I wasn't raised on a farm like
City slicker.
everyone else. Yeah, I just lived in the town,
Mhm.
I didn't wake up to roosters. That they still do that, right, Logan?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so I was thinking about transferring for a long time, but I was in the wrong for this. After my trip to during my trip to Florida, I talked to my mom a lot, and I was talking to her about moving or transferring, and my mom, she finally was like, "Di, you need to make your own choice, and it doesn't really matter what I and Dad think. If you think this is right for you, go ahead." And I was like, that was one of my first times when I kind of like disassociated myself with like my parents' choices all the time. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna transfer. but I really don't know like how I'm gonna tell all my Lewiston peers this, because this is during the summer now.
Yeah, I've heard this. Yeah.
And so what I end up doing is I get really like disgruntled too, because I don't know, I just really didn't like. Although I was friends with a lot of the Lewiston dudes, I didn't really necessarily like them. And instead of like just telling them individually that I was transferring, I didn't at all. And so when their first day of school came about, everyone was like, "Yo, where's Ty? Where's Ty?" And they found out through the teachers, and they got really mad that I didn't say anything. Well, I didn't want to really confront about that, because I didn't want them to like get mad I was transferring to what was seen by Lewiston as like a really good, cool, rich school. And John got mad about that too, I think. But that's not it too. A week before, I'm starting to just remember all this too. A week before, I'm texting John and Wyatt Curry, which is another name that comes around this podcast a lot. Wyatt Curry was another close friend of mine, but he transferred before he entered high school too, to Freeman. Him and a girl named Taylor Anderson. Now, John at the time was really desperate for a girlfriend. Like, he would text me all the time, and he would be like, "Oh, yo, I want to get with this one girl from this school. She's really hot. I just want a girlfriend, dude. I want to get with this girl." And then he talked about how he would have sex with them and stuff like that. And, it was like...
That might be edited out. That might be edited. That's a little too much, don't you think? That's a little too much.
I mean, I'm just saying how it was.
Yeah, just saying how it was.
I'm just saying how it was.
Just saying how desperate he was.
He was very desperate. And...
thirsty.
I guess you could say that he was simping.
Simping. The term was even a thing.
Simping before it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to structure this, because I haven't told this story in a while or thought about John Jansen in a while. But yeah, he was really desperate for this one girl in particular, even though they didn't always get along, and he would always make up these stories where you weren't sure if they were real or not. I mean, because John was kind of like notorious for his bullshitting and his... Do you agree with that? Like, even in elementary school?
From like vagueness of elementary school, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for like the whole life I know John, he was kind of infamous for his bullshitting. So, that kind of irritated me. I was like, okay, you're saying all this about you and your girlfriend, but I doubt any of this happened. And, Wyatt and I were kind of shit-talking him, which, was not right of us, because John was a close friend of mine and Wyatt. And I don't know. John, texted me one day when I was in the YMCA working out, and he was like, "Why are you spreading all these lies about me and my girlfriend? We never did X, Y, Z." Because before that, okay, let me go back. So
oh god, this is gonna take a while.
You can restructure this, however, in edit. But how it was that John said this thing about his girlfriend that irritated me, because it was one of those things where you weren't sure if it was true or not. And so I talked to Wyatt, one of our close friends. I was like, "Dude, John is saying this about him and his girlfriend. It's so bull." And he's like, "Yeah, LOL. I doubt that ever happened." And so I don't know. Wyatt ratted me out, or snaked. He was being a snake, and he told someone that this is what John said, and they're like, "What? That never happened. How do you know this?" "Oh, from Ty." So then John Jansen comes up or texts me, confronts me about this. He's like, "Why are you saying lies about me?" And I said, "Dude, I was just telling Wyatt. I was telling Wyatt about what you said, because we're all friends, dude." And he's like, "Okay, but now you're gonna get me and my girlfriend to break up." And I'm like, "No, I'm just saying what you said to Wyatt. And I was just shitting on you to Wyatt." And then that's how he it just got into an argument that led nowhere of "You said this." "Well, okay, well, you said that." Blah blah blah. And it never resolved itself.
So you guys still got bad blood.
That's one of the most high school exchanges and arguments.
No, it's 8th grade.
Wow,
it was just close enough.
It's basically the same.
But that's the last time I ever had that long and incoherent rambling was the last interaction I had with John Jansen in a fat minute. I'd love to make amends now in a more mature mindset.
Yeah, but I don't know how John Jansen even is right now.
I don't know
Like
either.
I haven't seen him.
The only mention I ever heard of him was like when Connor on the Connor Kelly podcast and Whitney, I guess, mentioned him.
I mean, if I was a Lewiston friend of yours and you just like dipped and didn't even tell it, I would be pissed.
No,
I would be
no,
really pissed.
I'm not trying to say that I was not a very good. I did not do the right thing in either of those scenarios. I mean, the way we handled that situation of the he said, you said, you know, we should have not probably, but we should have just made amends about that because that's a relationship that's been built since elementary school, and just to throw it away over a girl, you know, it's not worth. And then just I should have I was just so threatened at the time of confrontation and telling everyone, hey, I'm transferring. I should have grown balls about that. But at least now I'm not gonna be when we graduate from high school. You'll all be like, hey, Ty, you're going to UNO still, right? Yeah.
You're
Ty, what are you doing on that plane?
I'm on a vacation to Georgia. I'll be back.
I'm getting a pack of cigarettes, guys. I'll be back.
So, anyways, about Connor loitering stories.
Oh, jeez.
Are you gonna name that? Drop this too?
I mean, it's not anything bad on Connor. It's just he's a bad storyteller, and he'll wise up to it as well.
Okay, whatever.
You have to be in Chinese class to really
he'll start spouting some shit on where it's just like he'll start here's a common entrance. Okay, so one time I was at youth group.
It's always a youth group.
At 2 months ago, and like Luke Netherton was there, or Josh Netherton was there, and you know we played hide and seek, and at our church hide and seek is like a weekly tradition. Okay, so I'm like copying a Connor Luder story. I'm like simulating one. It's gonna be Zoom. So yeah, hide and seek at our church, it's like a weekly tradition, and every time the priest would always win, our pastor would always win hide and seek. But this week, we won.
And it's just like one of those things where like you don't have like any response to it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you respond to it? You're just like, oh wow, that's cool. But you don't
cool.
want to seem like a condescending like piece of freaking shit. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, thank you for telling me.
Mom.
So you're just like, okay.
It's like, you know, when you're a child, you're like, Mom, I beat Bennett in dodgeball today. Wow, that's really cool.
Oh jeez.
Dude, in elementary school, do you guys have any dodgeball stories where you guys clutched the game out? Because I do.
I just remember dodgeball. I just remember being like really bad, but like because like being friends with like the more athletic one, like you just like get picked first anyway, just because like you're friends, and so you just like be on the same team.
That's how you know you were homeboys.
Oh,
if your friend is athletic and he still picks you, he don't care.
Yeah.
He don't care.
I also remember that there was controversy with like the kids because the teachers wouldn't let like the under like the I don't know like third and like under kids like play with like the fifth and like fourth graders.
Oh yeah,
or whatever,
that was
like,
a thing.
Because like the older kids like threw it too hard or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
And people got really mad.
I mean, was I ever like I feel like that. I guess it could have been a real thing. I don't know. God, but back about Connor Luders. That I recommend any like upcoming freshmen or people who have not taken a language class yet. Would you endorse Chinese class?
No. Chinese class is a terrible program.
Yeah, as a Spanish taker, don't take Chinese.
It's terrible. The funding is bad. There's so many technical problems. Like one time, like we lived for like a week, we couldn't talk. Just for some reason, our wireless system wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so we just chilled in the room with Mr. Meyer, our supervisor.
No, that didn't always happen. Like I think that was only like once.
It was once, but still, like
it's
with the camera quality just being trash and the audio quality being trash, so you can't quite understand each other.
Oh yeah, you'd always just have to guess what the teacher said. Yeah, because like you know, his or her English wasn't always great to start with.
The Chinese teacher's English language, just because we don't have top tier English or Chinese teachers.
I mean, what Chinese teacher that knows English would be like, oh yeah, let's go to Beatrice, Nebraska.
Yeah.
I
mean, bless their hearts, they're great people.
Yeah, I mean, but again, NPCs.
Yeah, they're also NPCs.
Yeah, those are.
It sounds super like condescending and like
Self like important.
yeah,
like,
self-importance.
self-righteous.
That's yeah.
Yeah,
Making it
NPCs.
like, oh yeah, I'm a main
important.
character.
I'm a main
I'm a main
character.
character.
I'm a playable
I'm a
character.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. You're here, Chinese teacher.
You're irrelevant in the world.
I mean, it does sound like that, but it's like, I mean, in their eyes, we're also probably
Yeah,
NPCs.
just students.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been like every time I think about a career choice, I could not stand like doing an 8 to 5 same thing every day, being in a cubicle or a classroom. And so when someone says like, you know, they want to teach, like be a high school elementary teacher, I'm like, oh dude, yeah, Max Meyer. Like I think, dude, you could do so much more, because I feel like if you want to be stagnant, that's fine, I guess. I just think being a high school teacher is way too stagnant. Like you're you're doing the same thing. I mean, you just need to think of your curriculum for a year, and you could reuse that curriculum every year. I feel.
I guess it just depends on the person, obviously.
Yeah.
It depends on the person, but I just feel like I see Max Meyer as this person with a lot of drive and ambition and talent. And, you know, I've known this person where I think his personality would be better suited for something where I guess like he would take more risk, you know, not live so comfortably.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of disagree with you on this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't really want to work in a cubicle all day, and I don't want to teach kids either. But I don't know, I kind of think it's...
Are you saying some people are just meant to, like, be stagnant, or...
I'm not saying that. I'm saying people are very routine, like...
Having like an 8 to 5 job isn't stagnant.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not...
You make it stagnant, I guess, depending on like your outlook on it.
I'm saying some 8 to... I realize most 8 to 5... Like, the CEO of the hospital, he has an 8 to 5 job, but his life's not stagnant. But I'm saying the traditional... What is it? Blue collar jobs where you enter an office.
I think it's white collar.
Yeah. White collar. Where you go to your office, grab your suitcase. Honey, I'm home. Grabs a suitcase.
I feel like that's like
Go
a very
home.
like Hollywood like.
It is.
It's very simplified.
Because like you don't know what like their and all like those scenes like you don't know what their actual job is. Like you just like see them at a computer just. And like a stack of like files gets plopped on their desk like, by like their boss. He's like,
I know,
like,
but
extra
think that's what
coffee.
they're
I know, but
actually
I'm saying that like my dad, for instance, like he's been teaching the same class and same stuff for so many years, and he just like doesn't really. I mean, he does the work. You know, he just views it as work. He doesn't really have the passion for it, and that's just something I don't. I feel like you have to, not to say like he does have a passion for psychology, because he does. How do I word this? Just like, I view how routine he is, how routine his job is, and I don't want that. Where I see like my mom and she's like traveling to different places and having conferences and doing different research projects and getting grants and getting that bag, I guess. And I just like, that's more something that I'd want, where I'm researching actively. And instead of just like, okay, wake up, go to the school, teach the same class, you know, the same concepts. And, you know, you're not always saying the same words. But if you look at like Mrs. Mix, like videos, you could view a video from 2015 to 2019, and it essentially has the same script but different people. You know what I mean?
I think it does really depend on the person.
Yeah.
Just based on their values.
I get
values.
that, yeah.
I think the appeal to teaching kids is how you get like a new set of them every year and you can communicate with them differently. Like actually teaching the class isn't that different from every year, but
And I get that. Like,
the communications, the actual
people,
communicating with people is different every year.
People feel their accomplishments from knowing that they taught these people, now they're in like college and doing great stuff, and then entering the job market and they're doing great stuff, and they feel like they contributed to that, which they have. I just feel like if I personally wanted a career, I would want myself to grow as a person that never stopped learning, instead of like knowing just trigonometry and just reteaching trigonometry. Like, sure, you could teach yourself like new ways to teach trigonometry and American history, I guess. But I feel like it's different from, as opposed to like a construction worker. He starts like working for another company and he's doing contracting work. Well, now he starts his own business and now he's doing his own independent contracting work and now he's hiring people and now he has his own business and doing bigger and bigger projects. I'd love to see myself progress like that and learning new stuff that way instead of just like learning the same stuff and being, in the same place.
And I guess these are just things that every person should like go through like in their head on making decisions on like what to do.
Yeah.
Like in like noticing how you view like what you want to do and making those like blocking out everything that doesn't fall into that criteria that you don't want to do.
That's why I'm not sure on like my job market, just because I don't really know my own values that well. Like
what did you disagree with me exactly about?
I just disagreed with you on like people like I don't know how to word it, but just like I'm kind of disagreeing with you on how people can be happy with just like with an 8 to 5 job, and they can feel completely content with it, and you can have fun.
I mean, just to me, like all power to those people who want to settle like that. Just like I guess a part of me feels like I've settled for too long to the point where I want to take like I believe like, okay, if this is like my one life here on planet Earth, if I die and I don't just like restart as a baby, or if I die and I end up in heaven, then if this is like my only life, how am I going to spend this life? And and I thought, okay, well, I wouldn't want to do something mundane. I want to take, the American picture of how capitalism is built is like taking risk and opening like a business and doing something that way. That's because recently I've thought about, so I've always been interested in film and business. I was always the assumption, okay, I'm going to just like be a producer. I'm going to do work for other companies. But more recently I thought I can probably start like a media company, like a small media company, and do contracting work that way and film some commercials and then maybe later on small movies, low budget movies, that stuff like that. So if I can, I mean, some people would say the opposite to me, like, why would you do something where it's just such a high risk and the job market for what you want is so flooded already? And that's true, but I mean, I'd hate myself if by the time I'm 70 years old and I just did something mundane, I'd think, wow, I really wish that I tried this path, and I'll never know like what I would have gotten from that path, even if there was a chance that I could have just failed and lost all my money. I
think that's with every occupation. I feel like everyone has that like desire on what they could have done,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone truly dies without regret.
No,
I think regret is inevitable, and there will be choices where you'll maybe even make the right choice that works out better in the end, but you'll still think, oh, what could have happened if I took that path?
For sure.
And
I just hope
you can just never know.
I just hope if I graduate from a university in Georgia, I try to enter the job market, I fail tragically, and I live in a cardboard box in Atlanta. I hope I can finally I can reflect and say, well, I tried. I hope I can only have that mind view, because I've had this passion for business and storytelling for like my whole life, really. I can't really view myself with the opportunities presented to do anything else that I would be passionate for.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Your work values are definitely like figured out for sure, and mine are not. I still have stuff I want to do, and I also have stuff that I also want to do, and I need to, it's getting to senior year, so
that's crazy.
I'm kind of running out. Time's ticking
as
down.
As Shaquille O'Neal says, Father Time is always the winner.
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal said that.
He did. I saw it on a documentary.
What a philosopher.
It was about how he was reflecting on himself and how he just got older and older, and it was like, in the end, Father Time is always number one. And I was like, damn.
Wow, Shaquille O'Neal.
What did that like?
What a smart guy.
That Aaron Davis, like that black dude that came. What was it like? The years go slow.
Oh, days go fast. But the years go slow.
Or is it like the opposite? I don't remember.
No, it's definitely days go fast, but the years are slow. Yeah. Because it's like, you know, you live every day and, you know,
Yeah.
they seem like,
Mhm.
wow, this day went fast. But you look back like, wow, 2019, that was a... Like, when I view a year, like, I was like, wow, that was a long series of events.
Mhm.
And it's like a year is like exponentially just gets like shorter and shorter, like on your like how many like years you've spent like
Yeah.
on the earth.
Mhm.
Oh, for sure.
Like, cause like I don't know, 10 years ago when I was 7, like a year was like a seventh of my life, but now it's like a 17th.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I feel like once you reach like 20, now you're like 21, 22, 23, then you're 30, and now you're 31,
Yeah.
32, 40,
I feel
41,
like
42,
after
50.
20, it's gonna get
Yeah,
really
yeah.
fast.
Which sucks.
Mhm.
It really does. There's no
nothing.
there's no 20 part 2,
Yeah.
30 part 2.
once you exit a decade,
It's just be what it be.
Yeah.
you can't go back.
I guess
It's depressing.
that's sad.
This podcast has taken a very depressing turn.
What's a happy topic?
I didn't bother to ask you yet though. What are you thinking about doing, Logan?
Like, I mean,
I've heard from him actually.
I've thought about doing like what my dad does, like engineering or drafting.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
But like, I say that, and like I've kind of tried to like. There was like a point where I like didn't know what I was gonna do, and I was like viewing all these options, and I just like picked that one out, and I was like, yeah, okay, and I've just like tried to convince myself of like that's what I'm gonna do, like that's what I want to do, but I still don't know. Like I'm at the
feel
point
that.
where it's like, okay, I feel like that's a good option, but I guess I don't really know until I get into it.
Mhm.
I suppose.
That's the one thing I hate about having to pick a job is you have to go to, for most jobs, you have to go to college for like 4 years.
Mhm.
And then you could go into the job and just like not like it.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks.
Mhm.
And then if you don't like your job,
I feel like most people figure out they don't like it when they're in the classes.
when they're in the classes.
Yeah, because that's a lot. That's a lot of times what I mean. That's what I hear. Like last year's seniors, you know, they're now in college and they change their major or drop
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that for sure happens a lot. But I guess it could also be like the thing where, I mean, college isn't. I feel like it's a good, like, window into what it would be, but I don't think it's like exactly.
It's
Yeah.
by no means a guarantee.
And, like, your major might not be like something that you'd be working in, like, because if I go into like mechanical engineering, and like I might not end up in the same position that like my dad would be in. I might end up doing something like completely different, but I didn't really, like, I guess, study or train for it in college.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a broad number of what's the word, of careers
Mm-hmm.
that there are that you don't really know, but you have like a good guess of if you're gonna like it or not.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a big misconception. You know, it's a two-way street that you need a college education to succeed, and there's also a misconception that a college degree doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
Like if you I read the headlines of like Bill Gates and I think Elon Musk, and they're like, "Oh, you don't need a college degree to be successful. I mean, look at me. Look how successful I am. I didn't get a degree." And Zuckerberg, the host, did the same thing. But just like they entered a period during the .com boom where you know there was all these like here was the internet, start pumping out some websites. And Zuckerberg, he was like, "Ooh, nice idea you got there. Facebook."
Yoink. Mine now.
Elon Musk, "Hey brother, want to make a PayPal?" "Okay, brother." Boom, billionaire. And then Bill Gates, "Hey, let's make a technology firm." Boom, billions of dollars. You can't just do that now because unless there's another internet, you're not gonna there's not gonna be a .com boom that you can just latch onto and just drop everything and program for that. It was just such a different time.
Yeah, you can't really like foresee like what's gonna happen like in the future.
Yeah.
Like what the market's gonna be.
So when they say I mean, you don't need a college degree to succeed. I mean, you don't need to, but by saying that it doesn't help is kind of a lie because some people will definitely see your degree in management. They wouldn't hire someone without a degree in management for the same position as someone that does.
If you don't have a college degree, you can still succeed, but it definitely limits your options.
It does. It limits your options.
I think you should only take that option if you know what you're gonna do and that it doesn't need a college degree.
And there's also like the stigma of like community colleges where it's like, well, you're going to community
Oh no,
college.
yeah, that's
Mhm.
my dad talks about that a
What, are
lot
you
because
fucking
he.
stupid or something? Like, what are you going into the army? It's like, well, you can like going to a community college is like a lot of the times like a smart thing to do because it's like cheaper and like you can transfer to like actual like state universities like with credits like already that you got for
Mhm.
like half the price. And then sometimes you don't need like you might want to have a degree but you don't need a master's in it.
No,
Or,
yeah.
like, so it would just make more sense to. Just,
I don't get where that stigma comes from. I guess it's just
Yeah.
like if you have a PhD, you're the smartest, you're very educated, and you're well. But that's so anyone could get a PhD. If you have the
Mhm.
determination, you can get a PhD. I mean, I was watching the number of idiots that have the title doctor is it's baffling. I mean, for example, I just started I'm a slow poke. Yesterday I started Tiger King, and one of the zoo owners, the private zoo owners, is has a doctorate in whatever the keeping tigers, whatever. But he may seem like sophisticated and smart in what he's doing, but I mean he's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know too many people with PhDs that don't have a job, but you don't need a PhD. I mean, if you have a PhD, you're gonna just teach what you've been learning for years and years, and just if you have a PhD, it's under the assumption that you really like this topic so much that you spent all these years getting a doctorate in it just to keep on researching and then teaching it to someone else. You wouldn't need a PhD in it. And for a master's, I mean, again, that's just it can open up some opportunities, but I wouldn't say that you would absolutely need to get a master's.
I think master's is required for some teaching
For something,
subjects,
for
right?
teaching. Yeah. But I feel if you're just engineering, I don't know how beneficial masters in engineering would be.
Yeah.
But I feel if you wanted to,
Then you could,
you could enter the workforce or get a master's. I mean, in the coastal states, if you wanted to be an actor, you deadass could just drop out of I've seen these some of the famous actors. They dropped out of college, MIT. The one guy who played Drago, he went to MIT and then he dropped out of MIT to pursue this position for Drago, and that's how he made his opening into Rocky.
Uh-huh.
But you have to be again extremely lucky and have
that's such a large risk.
Uh-huh.
Or it's you have MIT, which is already you had to do some doing to get there, and you're just well, I'm gonna just roll the dice, see what happens.
I think I'll become an actor for Rocky.
Oh man! And then Chris Pratt, I think he lived in California, lived in a van. He was just a waiter for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He served this director. He's hey, you want to be in a movie? Oh, sure. And that's how he started out. Now he's Star-Lord.
Why did this director just ask this guy?
Okay, there's probably more to it, but that's what I read from this Watch Mojo video.
Yeah, those are very in depth.
I mean, you can do it.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
don't be surprised if you.
Statistically speaking, you can't do it, but statistically speaking, you also can do it.
For sure. I mean, again, there's a lot of examples of in New York City of people working as waiters, and they never the most they do is a commercial.
Yeah.
That's the peak of their career. That's
yeah, you'll see a lot more stories about waiters who do make it onto acting than you'll see the actual reality of what most likely happens where you just stay a waiter.
Yeah. I mean, just I always thought I always had the passion for acting because I truly believed hey, this is my bread and butter. This is what I'm really good at. But I also realized, okay, it's what are the odds I get into a college for something dumb like acting, and then I try to enter the job market as an actor, knowing my family ties, my location that I'm born in, Nebraska. What are the likelihood I ever get a have the connections to get an acting or acting role? So that's how I made the decision. Hey, well, maybe if I work in the industry doing something like it, maybe I could be an actor. But if I never become an actor, then hey, I'm still doing something. I'm still working behind the scenes. I'm passionately doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
Just having a plan B.
Right. I'm basically you know, I got my plan is, like I said, you know, doing contract work and open up a business and all that. But if there is ever like if opportunity ever presents itself in a different way, you know, I would definitely flip the switch on the tracks and go somewhere else.
Yeah. You just kind of have to go with the flow.
Right.
You know?
We were thinking about segments for the Roeland podcast because like Howard Stern, he has a thing where like, oh, I guess it's just not a Howard Stern exclusive thing, but they have they have people call in like during their like podcast and they like talk to the people on it. And I thought, you know, that'd be pretty funny if we had some people just
Max.
call in and like Max FaceTime calls. Maybe that could be a thing. Like have people FaceTime call in and then they could like ask questions.
It'd be
and
very
stuff.
hard to do.
It'd be hard to do
because you'd have to like stream it in order to have the full effect.
Yeah.
Maybe we should look into streaming.
What I was
That'd be
thinking
really
about
hard.
is that I enjoy like on the freaking is that on I don't know, but on like Joe Rogan Experience, you know,
Yeah.
that like scum of a podcast, but like they like talk about conspiracy theories a lot, and I myself
No,
I
you're not.
I do enjoy
No, you're
I
not.
do enjoy conspiracy theories too. My
And
dad does. My dad loves
I
conspiracy
find them
theories.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
hold a few controversial ones.
Oh
Do
really?
you actually
Yeah.
believe in some?
I mean, yes, sure.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Can I hear your most like controversial one that could be realistic?
I would say that this is probably my most controversial one, but I would say that there's a good chance that Bigfoot is out there.
What?
No joke.
I thought you were gonna say something like we didn't kill Hitler or something like that.
No, but like just because the amount of evidence, like, and the amount of sightings that are there, like, I feel like it's just hard not to believe. Like, it's hard to just discredit all of them as just like they're all hoaxes. Like all of them.
I haven't really ever looked into
I haven't-
Bigfoot, so I can't.
I always just
I can't.
I've always just seen it as like the representative of what a hoax conspiracy is.
I always
That's
saw
just
it
like
as just like country hicks being like,
Oh,
oh look, there's
out
a...
hunting Bigfoot tonight.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
Got
That's
my
what I
shotgun.
imagine. I don't. So like, what are the actual like? They have actual recordings of it.
Well, yeah, there's like one where like this dude was like, there was like a 911 call of like this dude, and he was like watching like out like the window of like his backyard, and there was just like this like I guess Bigfoot, but like he like described it as Bigfoot, but then he like couldn't bring himself to like actually say it because
they're like insane.
because of the social stigma of like
Yeah.
of like being like a Bigfoot site, like I saw Bigfoot, and like because there have been like I don't know like highly held people like in like the science like industry where like they go out and like defend people who think that Bigfoot is real, and they're like, yeah, I think there's probably good evidence that they're real, and like they just get shunned.
Yeah.
And then another thing is that it's like the myth of like a hairy humanoid like ape thing is like on basically every continent. Like every continent,
That is
like
true,
every like indigenous people have like a mythos of Bigfoot or like Sasquatch or like the Yeti.
That's true, yeah.
Mhm.
And like they all have like their like every name for it or whatever.
I'd say something like the Loch Ness monster is more likely than Bigfoot because of how big the ocean is. You know,
What
the possibility of
Loch
what
Ness wasn't
creature.
isn't in the ocean. It was in Loch
It was in
Ness.
the lake.
Like,
Yeah.
but I'm saying like some mysterious like mythos sea or water creature.
Well, that's what like the giant squid was for like the longest
Yeah,
time.
that's what I'm, yeah.
But then like eventually people found it, and like it obviously wasn't like the
Kraken.
like yeah, like the freaking tentacles coming out of like the water swallowing boats size, but it was still like large, and like no one like believed it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I guess like it's so hard to imagine like I guess if there was like for Bigfoot like with satellite and all that now, and
If
how
there was one, then like why haven't we found it yet?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like the big question.
Is that what would you say in defense of that?
Well, I just think a lot of the times Bigfoot, like the sightings or whatever, like it, like the Sasquatch in question shows like a level of like intelligence and like understanding of like what's like going on, I guess, and like how to like be unseen.
Mm-hmm.
and like know like when to like show themselves. And so I just think that I feel like they're more intelligent than people like give them, and like they just because. And also like, oh, why haven't we found one yet? Well, we have found one yet. Like people, like thousands of people have found one. Like they found footprints and stuff.
I guess what's hard to determine is like, is this just a guy in a costume or CGI or post-production edit?
I think like the
you know?
famous like I don't remember like
The famous
like,
picture.
like the Patterson film. I feel like that's probably like a dude in like a costume.
Yeah.
Because like they analyze like the way he walks.
Uh-huh.
Like the person who like associated themselves with like the film, and like the way he walks and like is exactly the way that the Bigfoot in like the film walked. But I don't know. I just think that there's a good chance, more likely than not, I feel like something existed at one point or does exist.
Is there
Mm-hmm.
So is there like one picture or film that may seem low key that you've seen that is like a compelling evidence for Bigfoot?
There's like there's like this photo like taken down in Florida that this like old geezer like grandma sent to the police, like, and it was like a photo. There was like two photos. It was like it looked like Bigfoot, but then they sent it to like the local police with like this letter, like that had like obvious like old grandma like type. Like,
Yeah.
I left the apples out on the deck, and this thing came out, and this chimpanzee or like orangutan came up and, and was there, and I was like, well, who's missing an orangutan? That thing could really hurt somebody. Like my grandkids play out there. Like, who's missing an orangutan? Someone should really like pick that thing up. But it's like, it's so hard to like get a realistic looking like Bigfoot like statue or model, and like it's the photoshopping that would have to have gone into it, because there's like two pictures, would have been extreme, and like you can't just like buy like realistic Sasquatch statue off like the internet.
Yeah.
I feel like to disprove like stuff like that, they often use the excuse of, oh, it's a guy in a costume, or oh, it's editing, but like that takes hard work to get it to actually
true.
look
Yeah.
realistic.
I guess like the only thing I'd be hesitant in defense is just like, with how everything has been colonized really, and like the ratio of like nature to civilization is so limited, and with satellites, people constantly out in nature, I just feel like someone would have found something, but someone probably has found something.
I don't know. I
And
feel like
besides
you
the
underestimate the size of Montana. There's like so much
That's
fucking,
true.
like Montana's full of nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Who thinks about Montana?
Like Idaho, like what's in Idaho?
That's true.
Or like
There is a lot of nothing states,
Mhm.
and that's probably the same for like Canada or Mexico.
and like a lot of it's like
South
really
America.
like wooded too. Like us in Nebraska, like we don't appreciate how like wooded places can be, where it's like just like forest for like miles and like
So
mountains.
from our perspective,
I wouldn't totally disregard like there never
Mhm.
was a Bigfoot. I'm sure like there were probably some creatures that were undocumented
yeah,
just because of like the time.
I think the most like evident, like the strongest evidence is the one where he talked about how all these different civilizations had their different versions of Bigfoot. Like that's, I never really thought about that, and it's like, no, that is kind of true.
One thought that I never believed, but one thought I flirted with was that there was like a kind of like the dragon, just because of how like dragons have been like such a folk tale thing for so long.
I don't
ever
believe in
since
dragons.
like I wouldn't believe in
Yeah.
dragons, but I flirted with the idea maybe there was something like a dragon, because I mean you look back, even like the early like tales, they're like
Yeah,
there's like depictions of dragons and stuff, like well maybe there is like bones of it somewhere and stuff like that. I just think I also thought like how cool like different like the dragons are. There's like drakes and then
Wyverns.
yeah, there's so many variations of it.
it is pretty cool. I think what probably happened is that the medieval people like dug up a fossil and they like made their own story of,
Yeah.
oh yeah, there were
I-
these huge flying lizards.
I tried to research stuff that was thought to be fiction but ended up to be real.
Mhm.
I tried to see if there was any examples of that, because
Like cryptids or whatever, like things that like I watched like a video recently on like things, because there was like like the giant squid, I guess,
yeah
and like there's like this fish that like people found like a fossil of, and like they thought it was extinct, but then like it just like showed up one day in like the 80s or something like that.
I need to watch some like. What kind of video? What would you call stuff like that? The genre of finding
Cryptozoology.
cryptos. You know?
Well, cryptozoology is like the things of Bigfoot, but then like I guess like finding things that like were thought to be extinct. Like I don't know.
What if we just found a dodo bird?
That'd be hype.
You
Just
know
on the mountain somewhere.
That's another thing. Like that they're just like freaking dodo birds that just like you. I guess you don't really think of dodo birds as like actually existing.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like it's just like, become like just like a myth, but then the actual truth behind it is that yes, those things actually existed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did we ever find like fossils or stuff of them?
I think so. I don't know.
I thought they were like alive in like a period of a lifetime, but they just like died out.
Yeah, like we like overhunted them or
Yeah.
because they're like, or maybe like it was because they were flightless.
Yeah, and they just like
introduced predators.
you want an example of natural selection? There you go, the dodo bird.
I guess we almost did that to the bison too.
Yeah, I mean, you just went on trends like, "Hey Jimmy, let's go kill some Native Americans and bison."
Bison out there.
get the minigun, Jimmy.
I don't think they had miniguns. I could
The
just
quick
the gat-
minigun.
just a cowboy with the cowboy hat.
Ulysses S. Grant and Abraham Lincoln mowing down some bison.
We should bring that back. Just like
Bison hunting.
out and on your like Ford F-150s, just like out there like mowing down like cows or something.
God.
Just cause like there was no point.
No.
Like,
It was just a
It was
sport.
a game.
Yeah, like white men just like
Killing Native Americans and bison.
Shooting stuff is fun.
Let's kill some natives and bison.
Gosh.
Oh my god.
Those were the times, though. I mean,
Yeah,
when you could literally just do anything.
Killing anything. I mean, dueling was a big thing then, too.
Low key, I'd love to duel. I mean, I'd probably
could you
get
imagine
killed,
the schmucks at like Beatrice High School? Just in Beatrice High School, that'd be like, "Hey, get the fuck off me! Let's duel! Let's duel! All right, we're gonna do this." And then
I would train really hard though. I would get really good so I could duel anyone.
Just the stress associated with dueling.
Oh my
like,
god.
Being like, and like the balls that you'd have to be like, no, you go first. Like, I'll wait. Like, and it's like, all right.
I read the story of Hamilton because like when Holly mentioned, I was like, okay, maybe I should actually keep up to date with what Hamilton actually did.
Mm-hmm.
And his shtick was that like he told his son got involved in like a duel, and he's like, hey, you shouldn't actually kill him. You should just shoot in the sky, and then maybe he'll get the idea that he won't shoot either. So he did that, and then he got killed. And then Hamilton did that, and he also got killed.
That's depressing.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, just like the cringe. Could you imagine just the cringe of like these two like low lives at Biatch? It's just like, yo, let's duel. You talking to my girl? You know, and then they go meet up in the front of the school, and then Suiter's like, well, this is normal. This is the way of life.
It would definitely be scary just knowing that at any time someone could challenge you to a duel, and if you say no, you'll be like socially ostracized.
then it's like,
That's yeah.
There's that Roel. He said no to a duel.
He said no to a duel with Logan Damme. He's a pussy.
Yeah, times are definitely better.
Those people get no women, dude.
Yeah, they would known as the pussy forever. And then if you did the duel and you died, I mean that was just it.
Then it's like
that was your life.
Lose.
Yeah, or you win, and then you have.
But
so much
imagine if
blood
you
on
were like
your hands.
imagine if you were just a super confident duelist, like you had a good record of it, you had a good eye for it, just like. We're gonna duel, okay? And then you have you have your revolver from generations and generations.
The person you duel is like.
It's like, come on, you shoot first.
Dueling is just luck, though. Like
no, I wouldn't say so.
I mean, as long as you can aim a certain distance, you're always gonna hit him.
It's like from there to like the end of that.
It's not a long distance to shoot.
It's just
literally
like the pistols were so bad.
That's
they couldn't
That's
miss.
why it's so luck.
They try to. Well, back then it was like more luck based, but I feel like two people with, let's just say, perfect revolvers that were not gonna like just jam on each other. I feel like there's definitely some instinct and aim required for it. Just like some marksmanship.
You literally just shoot.
Well, not everyone. That's just like saying
you can't dodge a bullet.
That's like just saying though, like just shoot a gun, just shoot and aim.
But
Don't
it's
miss.
it's like from here to there. It's like 7 meters.
I think you're like overestimating some people's ability to aim and shoot though.
No.
It's
not that hard.
It's not that hard for
now
some
anything
people.
past like 10 feet. Yeah, a novice would probably miss, but like within this room, you're gonna hit. You're gonna
Yeah.
hit him, and that's how short.
But you have to
Roel's
be.
distance
I mean,
is.
you have to be quick. Someone who's like not like practiced
Well,
to.
Are we talking like back in like
I'm saying,
like
like
1700s
no, I'm saying
duels,
like
or
you had to like
quick draw like westerns like
no,
Yeah.
I'm saying where you had to like have your gun holster. You were facing back, walk, and then turn,
and then turn and then
Mhm.
like fast
and
draw.
then draw.
So like
yeah.
western.
Well, okay, I guess they didn't really draw in that time.
Well, because what I was like, because like the Hamilton thing was like
That was,
They
I guess,
had-
yeah. You
had,
ju-
like,
you
You
just
six
had
or
your
literally
guns.
just
guns.
take
Okay.
turns, and it's just like
That's true.
in the modern.
I guess
era, we had
I guess
perfect-
that is more luck based. But I
Yeah.
say like Western of just
yeah,
like
for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
that
That's
takes
what
a
I
lot
was
more-
saying. That's what I was saying.
We were thinking
Yeah.
of different things.
Okay.
Because I mean, if you're doing it like that style, like it's literally rock paper scissors. Who gets to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, you get to go first. Well, I guess I'm gonna die.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Let's just hope that like ball like that's shooting out of your freaking like flintlock pistol at like Mach 10 just like happens to like bounce at like the wrong time like out
Yeah.
of the gun and just like goes.
I still kind of find it stupid that like football still has to like a flip the coin, like a
With
luck
overtime?
component to it. You know, of just like
Like
who
the
gets
starting like
the
whoever
ball.
gets it first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But like
There's no better way you can do it.
Yeah. I just feel like flipping the coin is such a
rudimentary thing.
yeah.
What do you want to like do like random.org like pick a number? or something?
No, I'm just saying like anything associated with luck is just like I don't like.
It's very inevitable. Is the thing.
I mean, that's how like I'm pretty sure that's how they determined like something for the Democratic primaries. Like they were like, oh, this against Hillary and Bernie. They were like, oh, this is so close. We're gonna flip a coin and see who gets these votes.
Hmm.
And they did that. And I was like, really? A coin flip? Surely in politics you could have done anything else.
Yeah, in politics, yeah.
Yeah.
In sports, you're a little bit more like limited
Yeah.
to what you can do. You could go off like team record, but even then, what do you
Yeah.
do when the season starts and everyone's tied?
That's true. Have your two biggest men just
Mhm.
arm wrestle.
I mean, with basketball, like it's done through like a toss.
Yeah, that's.
But
not-
like even then, like there's not much skill in it. It's just like
no.
height and.
But
jumping.
there's always the like, ooh, maybe the shorter guy does get it. You know,
Maybe.
there's always the hype.
Yeah, but most of the time it's
Yeah,
not.
most of the time,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just like, oh, yep, the guy who's 7'1" got it
The
over the
tens-
guy who's 6'3".
The
Wow.
tension from like a basketball game. Oh my god, Norris and Beatrice. I don't know how we came back from that.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
That
That
was
was
crazy.
insane.
Wouldn't
That was
know.
insane.
Not a band person.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you wouldn't have to be a band person, but just
yeah,
like
but I don't know. Not a extrovert person going outside.
that's fair.
Yeah. I don't really like going to. When I went to the Powder Puff game, I felt very introverted. Because I don't know why I went to the Powder Puff
Who-
game. I don't remember.
Like
why,
how was
but
the turnout for that?
it was. I mean, it was just like enough to like fill up a section, and that was it. I know. I
It's
didn't.
it's not an Orangeman football game.
Huh?
It like doesn't get the attendance of like an
Oh
Orangeman game.
yeah, it doesn't. It's really just students there.
Speaking of sports, like I like the differences in like fights in like different sports, because like football, like everyone's just like armored up to the freaking teeth, where like nothing will even like hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But then like hockey, like people like fighting is just a part of it.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
Where, like
that's
people just like
just
throw off
no-
the gloves, like just like knocking the helmets off of people. And then baseball, it's like in ancient like armies, like two like
Yeah.
converging on each other, because like everyone's just like pushing each other.
Rush
Really.
the pitcher, dude.
Not like like not really like throwing any punches really. There's like just rush everybody and
Mhm.
like meet in the middle. And like basketball is just like slapping.
Yeah. Dude, basketball fights are always hype though.
They are, yeah. I mean, just like, oh god, I'm glad like flopping gets addressed in like NBA. Like you'll get fined for
Mhm.
flopping, but like if you ever just flop, it's kind. I mean, it works, but it's just like so soft,
Yeah.
you know.
Just like in the modern game, it's just part of the game, which sucks.
It shouldn't be part of the
I
game,
hate
no.
flopping. I hate flopping, but it is just part of the game, and you have to do it.
I feel like if you like flopping should not really be a thing. If you can do a sport athletically, like train yourself, if you condition
Mhm.
yourself, stretch yourself, condition your body where, you know, and you're not always going to get hurt from just like a guy that pushes you down.
Well, just the
If you
point
just,
of
like-
flopping is to make sure the ref sees it,
Yeah,
and
It's just like-
it's literally just part of the game.
but I think like when it comes to like contact, I think that should just have
Mhm.
unless it's like serious. Like I'm saying, like someone like grabs you by like the throat and like throws you like over. But if you're just like getting nudged, like in basketball, like what can happen, where you're just like driving down the ball, you just step in place and then you get knocked down. I feel like
so
you're
like drawing a
foul. Like come on, you're an athlete. You can take a.
That's the thing.
Shoulder.
Basketball rules are kind of like pussy.
They are. It's so possibly one of the softer sports.
Yeah, you just have to flop in order to like.
And I don't think that really should be
have maximum potential in that game.
Like if you can like rep these weights and you're like in the gym all the time and then you get on the like court and then someone like knocks you down like just nudges you with their shoulder, you go oh my god, and you like fall on the floor and go fetal position and cry.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's just like
basketball has like no padding though. It's like one of like the least like padded sports.
Yeah.
It's like hardwood floor.
You see these like 6 foot tall guys with like they have all this muscle and like they like this like 5'10" guy against this 6'5" guy could like just hit him like on the arm or LeBron James. That guy's like 250 pounds of just muscle. And here comes not Tyron. Who's the guy for the Hawks? Who's the guy who plays for the Hawks? The only good player that plays for the Hawks.
Well, Trae Young.
Trae Young, like someone like with the build of Trae Young or Devin Booker, they can like knock. They can like just touch LeBron, and he could go and fall over, and that's a foul on him. Like because LeBron, he was just doing his job, but still that shouldn't happen.
I think if the rules were harder though to enforce, that would mean that
I guess
it would be harder for refs to spot fouls. Because when it comes to it, if you make it harder to foul someone, then it just goes to the ref's judgment, which will be biased.
I guess it's like in the end, like I guess you should be more scared about coming in contact with someone than not at all, because then you always risk the actually hurting someone.
Yeah.
What scares me about basketball is like you see those videos of like saving like a foul ball. Where like they just like dive.
Yeah,
they dive.
Oh my god!
Into the crowd.
Straight onto like the first row people. Like those. Like
I saw that with Shaq.
Yeah. He straight up just,
I remember everyone's made out of Shaq's way. Like he's running for a ball, and everyone on the bench is like, "Yo, get that!"
Freeze frame. Like, oh shit!
Run away.
There's like a fragile old person in like the first like front row seats. They're just straight up done.
And a Shaquille O'Neal missile comes towards them, they're dead.
Oh my
they're
God.
just dead.
There's some tragic moments where like just someone working for the stadium will bring down food at the sidelines for the rich people, and then here comes LeBron like trying to get the ball. Hey, ball me! And then they fall onto the person getting food, and all the chicken tenders fall on the audience. There's Coke spilled everywhere in the court, and then there's a towel boys go, ooh, it's not time for me to do my job.
Yeah, you just have to think this guy with this like table slinged onto the thing is like, well, that just happened.
God damn it, Shaq, every time.
Shaq has probably dived onto some rich dude, and they're probably like, how can I sue Shaq now?
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely get something going.
Oh, God. I saw this thing where, like, and this actually happened. They brought their baby to a baseball game, and the guy like batted the ball, and it went it went directly onto the baby, and they had to rush it to a hospital, and it had brain damage. Like it survived, but it had like severe brain damage.
That's horrible.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
What did the player do? Did they like help?
It just felt awful.
Bills? Yeah, everyone on the field was just like it's like on like a knee or something like that.
Total shock. Just like, and that guy now has to live with that, regret of like damaging like a newborn's life.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like
that's terrible.
I totally feel like that could be on like the leagues or the stadiums.
Yeah, because like the foul net wasn't like long enough or something like that. And there was like talk after it to like extend foul nets or whatever.
For sure, like a baseball should not be able to like be able to like just kill like
that's tragic.
Hit a baby like that.
That's tragic. In soccer, there's no netting, like
between
the audience. So like, there's so many clips of people just getting headshot. by like Cristiano Ronaldo's missile of a
An
shot.
actual bullet, just like.
Dude, getting hit in the face with a soccer ball hits different.
No, like
And this is on high school level.
the wet like soccer, like the wet crusty soccer balls that you like in elementary school. It's like got wet and it was like a cold day outside, so like everything was like numb and you just get smacked with it.
I
like,
had my first experience with that with Rudy Cuevas. This wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't just some like weak white boy.
And it was Rudy Cuevas' leg out.
The only other person that could possibly hurt more would be like Jose Hernandez.
Yeah, and I got the Jose Hernandez treatment, so.
Oh God.
And I got a concussion, my first ever concussion, so my brain could be permanently damaged from that. Maybe I could.
I was fortunate not to get a concussion.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, I don't even know if I had a concussion, because the school's like testing on your concussion is
like,
so weak.
Yeah, it's just like so like vague and like generalized.
It's like, so does it hurt? What's your rating from 1 to 5 when you look at lights? I don't know, like. I don't even know like the default like of what it is, because I feel like default even. Like,
I mean,
it kind of hurts.
I feel like when you have corona, like you would just not be able to do anything. You wouldn't have the stomach to do anything. I feel like if you had like a concussion, if you're staring at lights, like you couldn't just like it'd be like staring at the sun on like a really bright day.
Mm-hmm. Like I kind of just like I got like a score of 17 or something because like the total of my points were like that, and they're like, yep, that's a severe concussion right there. That's a red alert. Sorry, you can't do anything. I'm like. Okay, that's all the testing. Like, aren't we gonna use like the concussion baseline testing that took like an hour? You know, like the one where you have to like type in like you have to memorize all these things. Do you remember? Oh yeah, tennis isn't a contact sport, so you don't have to take it. But like the concussion baseline testing is where it's a bunch of memory tests and reaction tests, and they say, oh yeah, this is so that we can record your baseline, so that when there is a concussion risk, you can take it again and see if your performance drops. True. But I was like expecting to take that. I go in the school nurse's office like, hey, over the weekend I took a Jose Hernandez bullet to the face in an indoor soccer game. I think I have a concussion. They give this paper to me. I look at it, I'm like, do I have a headache right now? Well, I don't know. I'm kind of tired, but I don't know if that's from a concussion. I guess a 2. Oh, yep, that's a point towards a concussion. Well, you got a concussion. I'm like, what?
That is weak, yeah.
But hey, so like I don't even know if I had a concussion or if I was just like tired that day.
How do they test to see that you no longer had your concussion?
They just had me go in every day and take the test over again, and I was like
some arbitrary like numbers.
Yeah, and like by the second test, and they told me like, oh yeah, and you have to score 2 tests in a row with a perfect 0. I'm like, okay, but can't I just say I have a 0?
Yeah,
and so I just did that because I was like, I'm tired of like not being able to do anything, so I just said, oh yeah, I don't have a headache today. I'm fine. And so I just did that twice in a row, and they were like, yep, well, you don't have a concussion
magically
anymore.
Better.
Wow, you went from a severe 18 to 0 the next day. That's incredible.
I've never seen this before in my life.
It's so awful.
Like, if you exploit the system, you can just say you have a concussion for half a year.
Maybe you triggered some, like, there's a code word for that nurses have where they, like, just purposefully give you this shitty test so you can pass it on purpose so you can actually play your sport.
Because like I'm tired of like, I mean, like what's the point of taking the concussion baseline testing if we're not going to use it? The concussion baseline testing actually makes sense. Like it seems like it would be effective at testing for concussion. For sure. Rather than this sheet saying, do you have a headache? Does it hurt to look at lights?
Because that's a test and program that's been perfected by numerous doctors.
That's like actually testing you, like putting your brain to the limit. This
it's not. It's also
like
not
what you're thinking at the time.
It's also just not an arbitrary 1 through 10 scale. And a 1 through 10 scale will just always be arbitrary.
Yeah.
Just how you feel. Like,
it's
I'm
just
feeling an 8 for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how like you define like a 1 and like a 10. Like
another person could think my 2 is a 4, and it's just like what's the okay? So it's all going off on my brain that could have brain damage from a concussion. I feel like
when I rate movies, I don't like stick to one number. I have like a range for so like. This movie's a 70 to 80%. Like, it's okay. It's a good fundamental movie. Like, in that sense. The whole, like, arbitrary 1 through 10 scale, I hate it.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Just like...
It's just what you're feeling
at the moment. I'm feeling a 10. Or I'm feeling a 9.
And
10 is just known to be perfect.
Yeah.
But 1 is just, like, just god-awful. Like, the worst thing to ever happen.
That's the only, like, thing that stays consistent.
Yeah, like a certain one.
Like, the 4, 6s, 7s, just like... Okay, now those are in the middle. We don't really... There's no like standard.
If just like, it's just like kind of stupid and like, it does bring up the question. So like, if 10 is like, just absolutely perfect, it would it even be possible to theoretically get like a perfect 10 or a perfect 1?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that nothing can ever be perfect.
A 1 is like you don't even show up.
Well, you see on like the dunk contest on like the NBA or like Olympics.
10s all the time. They get perfect 50s.
Or boxing, how that's scored. You know, they never go. Well, maybe it's I don't know. You know how boxing works, but you never see anything like below an 8.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually just 10, 9,
8.
Or 9, 8.
Yeah.
8.
8's if you get your shit rocked. 9's if it's like, oh yeah, that was slightly to you.
You did. The other guy did one better.
7 through 1 is just irrelevant.
Well, that's why I question, like, do they even do 1 through 7?
I don't know.
You'd have to like die to get like
a
2.
That's if you get like you like somehow you don't get TK.
Well, I mean that's not even like possible because like the referees, if like you're like consecutively they won't even like bother giving you a 1
maybe
through 7.
The 1 through 10 scale was made before refs could do that. Maybe there's a
I guess
change.
I kind of hate how refs stop in between. I've said this before to you, just like because I remember I was watching the Mayweather versus McGregor fight, and you know everyone knew Mayweather was going to win. I mean, this guy at the time had a 49-0 record, and McGregor's just a good MMA fighter.
Yeah.
But you know, there's always a chance that this underdog McGregor could beat Mayweather.
Yeah.
And you know, here's Mayweather. He's like beating him up, giving a good time, and the ref, and the ref stops it. There's no like opportunity to see if Mayweather gets tired out then, and then McGregor can pop.
Yeah. It's very hard to judge because the ref has to weigh in the safety risk.
What I find so stupid with like boxing is just like, or not. I guess stupid's not a good word, but like so like not exciting about boxing is just like, you know, you could be the undisputed champion, and then like a year passes, this one guy comes up, challenges you, boom, you're not. There's no like great player, and maybe some people would be interested in boxing because of like how there's no perfect boxer, but like there's boxers that are known for their stuff, like you know Mike Tyson, how crazy and like primitive he was, and how like heavy his punches were. Mayweather just being like a
defensive legend,
very
good at defense.
Muhammad Ali, he's known as the greatest of all time, but yet he never like ever kept his belt and defended it for a long period of time.
Boxing is very on the luck spectrum.
Yeah,
because I just feel like its punches are so fast you can't react.
Yeah, it's just like how your head gets like hit.
Yeah,
and like whether or not you're just gonna like drop like a sack of potatoes or be able to keep going.
Are you in the right position when they throw a punch, or you just happen to be in?
It's a lot of just predicting your dude. Yeah.
You can't react.
You have to do like a turtle strategy, or just like always defending and basing off a reaction.
And it's when in the professional leagues in boxing when it just turns like very luck based because there is a skill cap on boxing.
I definitely feel like sometimes amateur boxing is more entertaining because it's just like people has no form, you know.
Yeah. I shouldn't say it has a lot more skill. It relies a lot more on skill.
Yeah.
Because in professionals, their punches fly so fast.
I watched this video. It was like MMA, I think, where like this dude, like knocked the other guy out. Like he basically knocked him out. He got him like to where he was like about to like fall over, and then like 4 times, and like it was like still going, like just like being dazed after days after days. And all of a sudden, like the other dude just like gets one like lucky hit and like knocks the other dude out, and like he just wins. It's like, I mean, sure, I guess. Like,
it just all depends on how you hit him.
And also just like, there's no one doing anything like there's no one with a unique style to him because you know there's so many ways to fight. I watched this one video where it's like 2 Asian guys and this guy has the drunkard style where he's like flinging around and this guy's like doesn't know what he's doing, so like trying to hit him, but like he's like always like flying out of the way, and then here comes the drunkard guy. He's going
just a haymaker out of
nowhere.
Left field.
I'd love to see more styles like that, but everyone is just like
it just does.
Also, another stupid thing with boxing is just like how often people hug.
Yeah,
like they'll get so close, and the Mike Tyson will throw some punches, and the guy will go.
Yeah, I mean that's why Mayweather was so good. He was so good at exploiting that rule.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it is kind of dumb.
It's just like
3 people like ranch on boxing for 20 minutes.
It's not like the movies, I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, it's not. Freaking Rocky getting decked in the face by
Getting
2,000-pound punches over.
Have you
That
watched-
ain't happening.
like weight class, like what weight
yeah,
class?
what
Like,
weight?
Have
And
you-
this guy's like
have you
2
watched-
feet taller than him.
Not in its entirety, no.
Which ones have you watched?
I've like watched like I don't know, just whichever one was like the Russian dude.
Yeah.
Oh, 4. That's the one everyone watches.
So,
Just like very like limited, not even
Mhm.
like the whole way through.
Do you know that this Russian guy, apparently the average boxer throws 800-pound punches, right? This guy throws 2,000-pound punches.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
here's Rocky just
PSI.
like taking it like just.
Looking
That
like a
would not
prune.
happen. if some professional boxer comes out throwing more than 2 times the force of an average boxer, he's gonna win. He's gonna win.
That's an amazing specimen on its
Yeah.
own. Oh my god. I will say a Rocky 1 is probably the best boxing
Mhm.
and just the best Rocky movie there is.
Really.
Just like because the intent of that movie was never about boxing. It was in Sylvester Stallone's words, it was just like a love story where how he changes from like a mobster and
Hmm.
proving that he can enter the big leagues like Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
You totally could just forget there's all these sequels to Rocky and be like, this is how it ends. It's this guy having a David Goliath story, but it's not about winning. It redefines what winning really is. It's getting the girl. It's going the distance, like what
Yeah.
Rocky did.
It's a love story, man.
I liked
Cool.
Creed.
I like.
too, just because the boxing was like.
Oh yeah, the I like Creed too for the boxing and like,
The fight scene, the fight was really hype,
Oh
and
my
it wasn't
I
just
would
like
say-
some guy taking 2,000-pound punches to the face.
I'd say like Creed 2's boxing scene is possibly one of the best. I wouldn't say I don't know if
Mhm.
it's the best, but it's the one time where I had like goosebumps watching a Rocky movie.
Yeah.
Like when I sent you that video of Creed getting up and he's punching the floor and then he gets up and he knocks out Drago.
That was hype.
I was like, holy crap! I was hyped and I was like, I gotta show Roel this. Like, dude.
I'm like at 2 a.m. just looking through like I don't know what I was like, maybe like Instagram. Boo boo Taeyong. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? What is this? Dude, this scene is so hard. Yeah. I mean, it was hype, and I did respond that it was.
It was hype. With quarantine, I've been watching a lot of movies.
Mhm.
Karate Kid, and then if I have the energy for it, I didn't get to watch all of The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, but I plan on watching that.
Yeah.
And I want to watch Lincoln.
What was that? Is that like the theme?
Another iconic song.
Have you been watching movies?
I'm not a movie watcher really.
Do you not have any like subscription stuff?
No. I mean we have Netflix at home, but I just don't use it.
Yeah.
Are you like do you feel like it's a waste of time?
To do what?
Like watch a movie? Like sit down and watch a movie, or is it just like
No, it's just that I just don't really like. I don't know. Like the movies that I watch, like I enjoy. Like most of them, like I haven't really like watched a movie that I'm like, oh, that was freaking like dumb. Like that was a dumb movie.
yeah.
Like I'm disappointed that I watched that whole thing. But I don't know.
I actually relate to you on this. I'm not a big movie watcher.
I watch. Now the thing with me in movies is like I gotta get in like the right mood or feeling of it.
Mhm.
If I'm just distracted, then I feel like I'm like, oh shoot, I have to go back on scenes and all that.
Yeah.
Like the thing with me in books is I feel like I'm wasting time. I'm just laying there. It's just way too quiet, and I'm just like flipping a page,
Mhm.
looking at text. Like maybe I'm just not an intellect enough to sit down and read a book.
It's been so long since
Yeah.
I've read.
I used to like
Since-
in middle school because of like the study halls where you just have
Yeah.
like 40 minutes of
Yeah.
just like doing
I would
absolutely
read, yeah.
nothing, and so you just like read. But then now in high school, I just have no like reason to.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm conditioned so much that reading is a chore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just like I've had that too, where it's just 40 minutes of study time and doing nothing. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll read because it's a chore I have to do. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing else to do. And then like with books, like reading the books for like doing assignments for, it's just like, oh, I'm doing another chore.
I mean, I can get hooked on the books, but it's like actually getting hooked on, which is hard.
Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
hardest point.
And once I get hooked on, like I can finish a book. But it's been so long. It's been since like 7th grade since
I think
got
that
hooked.
that's the thing too with movies. Like you have to get in the mindset of, oh yeah, I want to watch a
Yeah.
movie. Like you sit down, turn something on, and get through all the like the pretense, I guess is the word for it.
Exposition.
Exposition, right? And then like it will finally like get really good,
Yeah.
A movie I can think of, it has Clint Eastwood in it. It's called Dirty Harry. It's just like, they have to explain who Scorpion is, or Scorpio. Yeah, they explain who Scorpio is, why he's such a bad guy, and then who Clint Eastwood is, and why he's working for them. And then when they finally have the the chase with Scorpio and Clint Eastwood, it's really fun.
Books are definitely much easier to digest than, or not books. Movies are more easier to digest than.
I mean, that's just why like video games are so popular too. I mean, you can
pick.
You don't have to just like. There's very rarely exposition in some video games anymore. It's just like, I mean, if you're a 2K or COD guy, you're living the climax of like, oh shoot, I'm gonna make the game winner.
Yeah. Woo. GTA, you just let's boot up GTA. You're not expecting to have to read what's a GTA character.
Right. Oh, like Michael.
Yeah, you're not having to see how Michael has to deal with his impending like middle-age crisis, and then how he does.
No, you could just jump into GTA Online.
Steal some cars, man. That's why I think GTA is so popular. Is just because you can.
No, controversial for one thing.
Yeah, it's controversial, and then you can just pick it up.
Setting the bar of like what's controversial for a movie then and now is so like there's this movie that was big back then called Taxi Driver, and with Taxi Driver that featured Robert De Niro in it, and I remember I was asking my dad, hey, is this a good movie? I was like, oh yeah, it was known for how gory and like how dark it was.
Really?
And like there's this part where he's getting ready to kill a politician, but he doesn't do it. And then there's a part where like, he finds this sex club for this child sex ring.
Oh, I've heard of this movie. Yeah,
the child sex ring.
Underage.
And he's like, hey, how old are you? Oh, I'm 14. But the woman looks 25.
Yeah.
So you can't really even immerse yourself to believing that this girl's 14. You wouldn't even know. You would just think she's another prostitute. Well, what ends up happening is just like he goes into the sex ring and shoots up everyone, and that's supposed to be like really like polarizing and really like, oh my god, that's so like crazy. But the thing is like the bar of what's crazy for a movie is not like
increased.
Watching like the what's it called, like the Quentin Tarantino, like the Band of Bastards or whatever, like Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards.
Where like they have like just showing like scalping Nazis and like just blowing their brains out with like a baseball bat.
Yeah, exactly. Like Tarantino movies sometimes get me to cringe because there's scenes where people are getting raped, like in Pulp Fiction. One of the guys actually like.
Oh yes.
Here's my thing with Pulp Fiction, or Tarantino movies in general. People like to believe that these movies are such masterpieces and they're the greatest films of all time because of how they're like, how Tarantino's style, the dialogue behind it. In my opinion, they're great. Like, yeah, they're sure. Tarantino does a lot of like unconventional stuff that most movie makers don't do it. That's because like that's one of the reasons why Scott Pilgrim versus the World is such a good movie, because it has this like video game.
Quentin Tarantino.
No, that's not a Quentin Tarantino style movie, but that's one of the like. When you ask some people what's their greatest movie of all time, they'll say, "Oh, Scott Pilgrim versus the World."
Yeah, that movie was pretty dope.
I mean, even I thought that movie was kind of slow. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I need to rewatch it, but there are just some parts where I'm like, okay, and then like I just expected what was to come. Like he was just finding all these boyfriends. I thought it was like kind of a well-crafted movie and like the cinematography and all that, but I just thought it was kind of slow.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
No, I definitely do, because like he gets with this chick, like, and it's just like, okay, like, I mean, I get it, yeah.
Some people will just force themselves to believe that this movie, like, all Tarantino works are masterpieces because of how they're cinematically done and like the style to Quentin Tarantino, which I can admire. But when I watch like Pulp Fiction and then like Samuel L. Jackson and Grease Lightning, what's his name?
Dude, I don't remember.
I don't remember either. And they're talking about, in Europe, it's called a Royale instead of a quarter pounder because they don't have a pounder. And some people will be like, wow, that's some great dialogue. Oh man, Tarantino, you did it again. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, this is just like, this dialogue's cool, it's unique. It seems human. But I wouldn't say that this is like a greatest movie of all time. But the one scene I do like, and what I like Tarantino for is how like controversial he gets. Because there's like, there's this character you follow in the movie in Pulp Fiction. He's like a boxer that wants to run away with his wife. But what ends up happening at some point, I forget why, he ends up like in this basement of a slaver, I guess. Yeah. and they like tie him up, they chain him, and like next door there's a guy in like the bondage outfits, you know, those skin tight like the gimp suits, and then there's a reoccurring character that shows up. His name is Wallace. Well, then the slave master, he takes Wallace and he presumably ass fucks him, you know, and then like he's gonna do the same thing to this character you're following, but here comes Wallace in a gimp suit and he shotguns the slave master.
Hell yeah, Wallace.
And his ass is like showing, you know, in case like you really needed to know all that.
Yeah, it's the thing. I'm famous for Ty knows me for falling asleep during Quentin. I've never gotten.
He fell asleep on Inglourious Bastards.
How do you fall asleep when like everybody that gets shot turns into freaking like ketchup packet?
Because like I don't get
he
to
was
it
like,
in time.
Yeah. What? Okay. The opening scene for that movie in particular is the really good villain, the Nazi guy, and then he's talking to the villagers. Yeah, and it's like a really slow scene. Mm-hmm. Unless you've been studying film, like
you don't like pick up on like the subtleties of it,
right?
Unless you watch it like 5 times.
I mean, what's cool about that scene is like the suspense of the character and how much of a mastermind the Nazi is, and how he just slowly picks apart the guy. That's a like cool movie part of it. But what like. If you're just in a movie theater, it's just like a slow dialogue. Like, you do keep Nazis, right? And then that's when you finally get the action of when they're all shooting the floorboards.
Yeah.
And then what do you know? More exposition. So it takes a while for you to like...
I did like that part, but it's just like... It was just like really slow.
It is.
After there's like these fast parts and controversial parts, and then it gets slow.
Yeah.
I attempted to watch Inglourious Bastards 3 times, and I fell asleep in the beginning.
He woke up like right when the movie ended, and his mom was like, "That was a really good film."
Yeah, because on the second attempt, I was like, okay, maybe if I have my mom watch it with me, I'm like, hey mom, you want to watch this movie called Inglourious Bastards? Ty says it's really good. Oh yeah, this is and I wake up and my mom's like, she's just. Like, she does what Ty said. Like, oh, yeah, that was a really good movie. Well, what do you think of it?
You're like an old man.
Yeah, and I don't remember. I think the third attempt was just by myself. I couldn't. And then with Pulp Fiction, too. I tried to watch it with Kaden and Chet.
Oh.
And then
that's a bad cast on its own. Oh, yeah, my God. That's awful.
That sucked. But with that, too, I also knocked out.
Again, like with Tarantino films, they're kind of watched like poetry. Mm-hmm. That's what's so like what people nut about when they watch Tarantino.
Yeah, because like all like the film like analytics, I don't know, the critics I guess, like they like analyze like the film, like all like the messages and like inside the dialogue, like the theme. But like I don't know, for me when I'm like in the movie theater, just like at home, like I'm not paying attention to that. Like I'm just like watching the movie, like what's going on.
That's how a film should be watched. I mean, you watch it and you watch what's presented. And you get entertained by it. If later then you want to like decompress it and like just pick it apart like a surgeon, sure, go ahead, because you know you want to make a good movie yourself. I mean, the number one movie in the box office is Titanic and like Avatar and Endgame. Yeah. And those movies, they're just like face value. Mm-hmm. There's no interpretation behind it. It's literally Iron Man kicking Thanos' ass. Yeah. There's no like, oh my God, the snap represents the deep enlightenment, and Tony Stark wants to end that enlightenment.
He's the real
villain. Thanos wants to bring this new teaching, but Tony Stark, he's the sheep. He wants to stop this new way because we're so stuck in our traditional values. You could probably make a case for that too. And I feel like so many people, these analytical people, you know, they'll be like, oh yeah, this is what XYZ are. And then the filmmakers, they'll be like, I didn't even think about that, but sure. You can make a case for that.
Movie's top priority should be what's happening on screen.
For sure, it's telling the story.
And then secondary is...
If you want to sprinkle like your message into
your own message into it, then yes. But I'm not trying to like interpret Quentin Tarantino's intentions on life.
I guess like another thing to note too is just like the time when that movie was made, in a time where everything was just conventional like that. So when Tarantino comes out with Reservoir Dogs, and this is some new style that, and so many people are like, you know, they watch a linear movie. Well, here's Tarantino with like, oh, the ending is in the middle, but now here's like the exposition here, like at the end. That happens in like Pulp Fiction, when like Grease Lightning and Samuel L. Jackson are talking about divine intervention, and they have a whole spiel about divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's that kind of dialogue that's kind of interesting too. That's read like again like a Bible or poetry.
Quentin Tarantino, he's just
He's a wordsmith. He
he's a film
is a good
genius.
guy. He is a good writer director.
I still can't believe that he had people in GIMP outfits. That sounds
There's a
disturbing.
thing with him and feet too.
What?
There's a picture. Put this up real well. It's Tarantino with a foot, and he like is posed like right next to it, or he's getting ready to like
Is
munch
he a
on
kinky
it.
guy?
He's a foot guy.
Is he actually?
He's a foot.
Is that like
he's come out?
confirmed?
He's come out and said this.
I'm pretty sure it's a thing. Don't quote me on it, I guess. But I'm pretty sure, like, because there is a picture of him with a foot. I know that for sure.
Okay, well that could be that.
Okay, but no, it's him like in a sexual position.
There's a picture of me with 3 half-naked guys. That doesn't mean you're gay.
All right.
There's a video of Bryce Milky bouncing on your dick. That doesn't mean you're gay.
I'll send a link to this to back up the evidence for it.
Logan Damme is not involved in any scandals, but us two are.
No, not really.
I mean, after that one post on my story of Nick having like of getting tied up.
Oh god,
like,
I remember you posted it.
Yeah, I
What?
did.
Oh, so there's this picture of Nick with
Nick, like, duct tape.
tied up. God,
Laying on a bed.
yes,
Laying on a
yes,
bed.
because Caden wanted to do it.
Of course, of course.
And then he got like a lighter and put it up to his foot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was like-
weird.
okay,
that
yeah.
was weird.
I guess you
That's
can.
mess.
Yeah.
That's straight up torture.
And Nick was actually like, he was actually shaking like involuntarily.
Yeah.
Like it was an actual like severe shaking.
I guess
And it was
you-
scary. It was scary to watch.
Caden Thomas is a torturer and has a foot fetish.
Well,
We
he's
don't.
the succubus, dude.
Caden voted Congress is getting shit on this time. It all started with me laughing. With
Yeah, yeah.
we love you, Caden, man. Gosh.
That poll didn't help.
Yeah,
either.
that
that
poll
poll
did
didn't
not
help.
help.
We will not get into the poll.
But
But I will explain to
disclosed.
the viewer that there was a period of time when we had like these stupid polls, and
Lasted all about 3 days.
because of this poll
Okay.
ending it.
well, and some of the polls were like most toxic Roelander,
Yeah.
most dangerous Roelander.
And most of the time, like, people handled the joke.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
What was Hunter's? I don't know, but like most toxic Roelander, or there would be something like most dangerous Roelander,
Cutest,
most
cutest
Roelander, most likely to be successful. So
Yeah.
knowing all those prompts and knowing us as people, I'm pretty sure you could safely assume like what kind of prompts we could have came up with
Where-
that would have offended Caden Thomas.
Where the ending one? What was the catalyst? For, yep, that's probably the line, and yep, that's probably where we went.
We definitely went over the line.
Yeah, I mean, it just started out in a group chat, and someone said, "Hey, we should make a poll for this,"
Yeah.
and we're all like, "You know, it's going to be Caden that's going
Yeah.
to be voted," and we're like, "Yeah."
And then it,
And we did it.
And then it happened, and then what do you know? Caden was the one that was voted for.
Yeah, and he got pissed at us.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, right. He's definitely we're in the wrong.
Yeah.
He's in the right. We're sorry, Caden.
We're sorry.
It
That was a mess.
that was a mess. We shouldn't have done that.
And then the true colors comes out when like a scandal happens, and then like the aftermath when like people realize what just happened, and then, like the immediate of just is just oh, this is my responsibility. No,
Oh
F
no,
yous.
yeah. There's
Not to name names.
Yeah,
not to
yeah.
name names, but you can definitely tell like who's a Judas or like
Yeah,
who would stay loyal.
Ashton Barber's a Judas.
Not to name names.
That's a joke.
Ashton Barber is that guy.
Okay,
He did
well, Ashton Barber actually wasn't that guy
Yeah,
at the time.
he wasn't. I just said that as a joke.
Okay, but there were people that were like, when like Caden Thomas was hurt, or I guess I shouldn't even say Caden, but when a friend is hurt, some people will do their best just to reflect all responsibility
Mhm.
and like not even try to like here's their priority list. It's one, not help
Get out of fault.
get out of the fault.
Then number two,
explain
help.
yourself, defend yourself, make a case for yourself. Why? Make your platform, and then somewhere along the line is help
Yeah.
your friend.
It, like the first response will be like, "Oh, I didn't do it. I wasn't part of that."
If you were to be like, hey, that was fucked up, guys, come on, I don't want to be associated with stuff like that, and then you helped, I could understand that. But
Mhm.
just be like, I didn't do it, I did not do it, if the glove doesn't fit it, you must have quit. I mean, you just.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, Caden.
We're
I
sorry.
mean, this one's been. There's been some depressing topics.
Yeah,
This is.
this is sad Roeland.
At least talking about like movies and sports wasn't depressing.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, we never really like dived in more about your conspiracies that I really wanted to talk about.
So there's
What's-
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. What else is another?
I mean, I don't know if like aliens is a conspiracy.
I don't think so.
I
It's more of
believe
just a
it.
guess.
That's just like a general thing.
I guess what would be a conspiracy is the government hiding something. Which, by the way, at this point, I think it's more likely for a Bigfoot or another ocean creature to be found than like the government keeping some huge secret.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the government is already filled with all the scumbags in the world, the most pretentious people, and to trust all these people, they won't say anything.
Yeah. There's just no way. Like
There's no way.
scandals like come out in the like all the time. Like what were meant to be secrets like eventually come out because of whistleblowers. Like
Yeah, I mean, with WikiLeaks now, and like you can just hide in an embassy.
Yeah.
It's like, hey Russia, why don't you hit your boy up and can I stay over, please?
Jeez.
Well, I don't know. Do you have any conspiracy theories?
Do I have I think okay, what is the one? The one like conspiracy theory that I will like tend to agree with is like the JFK one.
That it was
Where
like the
he-
CIA or
That
something.
yeah.
I wouldn't say it CIA explicitly, but I will say there was more meat to it than what was presented.
Then just some dude just
Yeah, because
Nothing.
like that was a time when mafia, there was the Cuban Missile Crisis. There's so many like variables of what more could have happened. So this guy, I mean, I get that JFK at the time was not a very liked figure because he was making moves that I forget what exactly, but I was listening or reading that JFK, like in politics and the Kennedys in general, they weren't, or JFK, he was doing some stuff that pissed people off. So I get there could be some guy that could have been like so mad at JFK where he shoots them. But knowing like how he said like I'm just a patsy, and then here comes this police officer, he comes up with a revolver, shoots him in the gut, and then I think Jack Ruby, he's like found dead too. I mean, it just sounds like there's more to it. I also believe that there are also certain like there's a secret society. Now I'm not saying there's a secret society that pulls strings and they make big calls
like
globally.
Illuminati.
And like Illuminati. No, but I feel like there is like a secret society of like maybe politicians, world leaders, something where they gather around and they have like
Isn't there,
meetings.
Isn't there like that weird like annual thing in like the
No,
woods somewhere?
you're
or
thinking about the
something
same
like that?
thing. This is the one thing that Alex Jones is credible for, and he threw it all away. Back in the day, Alex Jones, when he was more of a credible source,
Put chemicals in the water that turn the fucking frogs gay.
he had this camera, and he went. It was known that these politicians would go and meet in this place, but no one was really sure like what they were doing. So Alex Jones goes into this wooded area that these politicians rented out, and he records it in like this secret part of the woods. And what do you know? It's a bunch of people in cloaks, and there's a statue in the middle, and they're burning it, and
Yeah,
it's like
very
straight
weird.
It's straight up Hollywood
Really?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like-
crazy.
I could only imagine the freaking adrenaline high that was going through him right there. Like,
Oh no,
If
you
I-
come across
if
something
I
like that.
saw that, I'd be like-
freaked.
I would actually
Alright,
run.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link this stuff, like everything we talked about. We can link this stuff up so people can like see what we're referring to, and you can overlay it like that. But it's really interesting, and it doesn't get enough like attention.
That's
Like,
insane.
why? Like maybe, and then someone said like, oh, it was just like a play, guys. We're just like having a play, but like, okay, whatever.
That's very
Yeah,
weird.
sure.
Was it? Did we see any politicians' faces though?
No, it's it's so far away you can't see anyone, and they're all in cloaks.
It's just like known
Oh.
that people like go there or whatever.
And there's also just like this. So there's a guy with like a microphone too, and like he's like reading some like passages, and like it's very cryptic too. I mean, if you even the KKK scare me, of how there's all these people with intense hatred.
Yeah.
People by intense hatred
Just,
they
like,
get in,
intermingled into like society.
and how like and they're all cloaked together. They're all cloaked, and they don't.
Mhm.
They're not blatantly out there. So anyone could have been like in the KKK.
Yeah.
If you were an African American back in that day,
I'd
I
be
feel
shitting
so
my pants.
like I would be so scared. I couldn't imagine what that's like, because anyone out there at a period of time could just come up to you and just beat the shit out of you because what? Your race?
Yeah, and they could like they could like act friends with you, and you like go over there for dinner. Next thing you
it
know,
could
you're
have
like
been-
tied up.
It could like the girl you're taking out on a nice date. Well, her ex-boyfriend could have been a KKK, and now you're like put in a truck, beaten up, and now you're crucified. Or your boss, he works for the KKK, and now he doesn't like the way you looked at him.
You're kind of just SOL.
Yeah, the shit like that is like was actually scary, and it's hard to believe our like our country alone had history like that. If you look back at in countries all over the world, I mean, there's probably intense shit like that too. I mean, no one is like void of having bad history. One thing that with slavery, one thing I'm really interested with was there was like this island or country. It's not a country, but they just had like it was all farmland, and they had all the African Americans there that just lived there by themselves, and then the Europeans came there and colonized it.
Yeah.
And then there was like this big revolution, and they brutally killed all these European people. I forgot what island it was called.
I think wasn't it in like the Caribbean or something?
It was
like that?
in the Caribbean, yeah. And they were like how they rised up from like their restraints and like led this revolution.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, it's like an underdog story,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And then like for people like Abraham Lincoln to be born, I think a lot of people underestimate how great of a leader Abraham Lincoln is, because like at that time he had the most progressive mindset. People nowadays they'll argue like, was Abraham Lincoln racist? But you can't expect like someone to believe in like racial. You can't expect someone to believe in the same like social issues of today to just magically sprung up and like
it just wasn't like
it just wasn't like a mindset.
Yeah, that wasn't like a thing that like nobody really thought of.
With all the hostility between whites and blacks, it was too hard to believe that they should like coexist together. Like that's why people thought, oh, they should be separated, because with all the hostility and all the time, you were like Abraham Lincoln was a radicalist to even believe that slavery should not be a thing. I mean, what we think, like what's radical in today's thinking, I don't know, but just like that, how we view a radical today is how they viewed Abraham Lincoln, and now he's like, I mean, he's just like a hero.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how like there's I remember like reading something how he like wasn't supposed to win, or he was like very very like underly. No one wanted to vote for him.
I mean, everyone was content with owning a slave.
I don't remember how he got voted in, but there was like something that happened that heavily increases chances for some reason.
Had the whole like southern states against him.
Yeah.
We're like really against him, to the point of civil war.
Thinking about that is like bonkers, like that all that like actually happened and like went down.
I find old American history really interesting. Just like how democracy was like sprung up like that. Like stories like Hamilton, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all those like figures, all the founding fathers are like fascinating people. I mean, a lot of people like to discredit them, like, oh, they're old, they were lived in a time that's irrelevant now. But I mean, a lot of the stuff that they proposed now is still in like, our country would probably be in a worse place if it wasn't for like some of the like amendments they put in place, like freedom of speech. I mean, we could have possibly been in a more surveillanced state.
Yeah.
Right now, this podcast would be surveillanced by Donald Trump himself, making sure we don't slander on his name.
Well, like, they do, like, the government still does, like, such, like, they try their hardest to, like, surveillance everything still, with, like, phones and your emails, and just, like, one guy, like, at the CIA has just as a program, you can type in a name. I read this on, like, the Edward, from the Edward Snowden, or heard it from the Edward Snowden podcast, where, like, this program that, he leaked out would have just potentially been like the president had a computer, you could type in a name for anyone, and then you would have all their record, their emails, their phone calls, and you could listen to all that.
Gosh, dude, the CIA is kind of...
That's why I'm just such like of an advocate against shit like Google Pro, or not Google Pro, Google Home.
Yeah.
So, because like, people make the argument like, oh, I don't say any dumb shit. I mean, it's not like the government's gonna catch me for talking about having boys hang out and all that. But like, that's the thing, because they're slowly integrating this stuff to make you more comfortable with that. They're not just gonna say, okay, here's a Google Home and it sells all your information to companies. It's hidden in the devil's hidden in the details for stuff like that. I mean, it starts with a Google Home. Oh, it does instant stuff like, oh yeah, to-do list, and you can ask it, hey Google, play music. Hey Alexa, play music. But like, as you get more comfortable with it, they'll be like, oh hey, we're gonna install cameras in your house. Okay, I don't do anything stupid in my house.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, for me, it's concerning. Like, if we keep supporting this technology, what's to say our comfort to just become non-existent until we're like trained
Just
to believe, numbed down to believe like, oh, this is okay. It's okay for constant surveillance.
I own an Amazon Alexa, but I definitely do draw the line at like Facebook Portal, where they have like a camera following you around. Have you guys heard of Facebook Portal?
Like vaguely, like.
So it's like advertised as like a video chatting thing, where like it's a speaker and it functions like Alexa, but also has like a camera thing, and like it whenever you have video chats, it will like follow you around. It will like turn towards you. But can you like imagine if that technology is used like maliciously?
Like the thing is with like because it's like the government, like just like companies just like sell like all of like your searching and and it's like, oh well, I have nothing to hide, like I don't care if like they like have what I search or whatever.
It's like surveillance is a seed for it, like surveillance. Okay, inherently surveillance isn't always like a scary thing. There's like, if there's just someone watching you and checking, like that's disturbing. That's like disturbance of the peace. But if they're not doing anything wrong with that, I mean, okay. But I mean, if you have surveillance, then there's so many things that could happen with that, like government restrictions or like intense, like a new definition of capitalism, where they're like surveillance leads to like a new way to sell your products, and I mean that's happening today and stuff like that.
Yeah, just with search results.
And a lot of it is like, oh, I have nothing to hide, but it's like it's not what you're hiding that the companies necessarily want. Mm-hmm. Like they're getting like all sorts of information that you just give away freely, like without knowing like that it's actually worth something. Like just companies now can lay out decisions in your life, but like before you even like know, like they're basically like taking control of your life by like slowly like, oh, this is what your ad is for, and like you should make this purchase, and like you just don't. I personally just don't want companies and like directing me on like what I want to do.
That is like a very dystopian like future, like intense capitalism.
Yeah,
capitalism that goes too far. I think we're honestly in the early stages of like capitalism too far. I mean, if you look at the recent Hong Kong stuff with the NBA. I said this before, like. I mean, just to give a rundown, the NBA has a huge market in China. They make a lot of money in China. Nike makes a lot of money in China. There's people getting their rights restricted in Hong Kong. China wants Hong Kong. In order to not lose the market in China, you can't say anything bad about China in America. Because, one thing, before you know it, China's like, oh, no NBA. And then that's a lot of money lost for LeBron James and the NBA. And so LeBron James is like, oh no, that was terrible that you fought for people's rights in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. It is a messed up system.
We're living in that early stages of like a dystopian capitalism. I think there needs to be some kind of regulation with like you should not rely on foreign countries to make a living, or I don't even know what you could do with that, because now you're like talking about government control, which is something a lot of people don't like. It's hard to balance government control and just like stuff people will do because they're scummy.
Yeah. Anyways, we're hitting the 2-hour plus mark, so we better make a last topic before.
You want to make a last topic?
We go on.
I mean, like, what's the last topic? I don't know.
Because this will beat out the reigning record for the longest podcast.
Well, honestly, like, are you interested? Like, I guess we never talked about this, but like, are you ever interested in like 2 minutes and 30 minutes even, or like something that reaches like 2:30?
Like 2 hours?
2 hours and 30.
Okay. I mean, like, I'm just down to go with the flow. It's just like,
yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, what's your time here, Logan?
I mean, however long I can make it up an excuse for.
Oh yeah, me and Roel, we were just playing. We got really hard in tennis.
What time is it right now?
8:40 something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pushing a little bit.
Okay. I guess for your sake, yeah, we should.
All right.
Have a lasting topic. Oh, we can edit that shit out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, any conspiracy theories for you?
I'm not actually a big conspiracy. Like, I'm interested in them, but I don't really follow them.
There's definitely some people that, like, I won't name names, but I know some people that just like take conspiracy theories way too far, where they have to believe that everything has a bigger meaning to it. But like, some things I feel like, no, there's not.
Like the Alex Jones of the world.
Alex Jones, yeah, that's just fear mongering. That's why I hate media too. Of today, it's just like news today is so little fact and it's like so biased too. I mean, you go on Fox, like you shouldn't have to pick between CNN and Fox and all that because of your views. Like if you have like, it doesn't matter what your views are. There should just be one news source that tells like the straight up facts and and the sources for all that. But we're just so like trained to believe like, oh, they said this, so it must be true.
Yeah. It's kind of like both like the medias and like the actual like consumers.
The consumers that eat it up.
There's definitely some like fault to be blamed at them too, where it's just like, oh, yep, that's true. Like, there's just like no actual like research of like their own that takes like or fact checking. That is just like everything is just taken at face value. Like, and it's just if it's not out, like if the news isn't out there like as soon as possible, then like it's not like you're not gonna be making money, and so they can't release it. So then they just like release the news, like when all the facts and all the information haven't come out yet. And like they have to go back later and apologize. Oh yeah, sorry, we were wrong. And it's just like
you know, that happened with Kobe Bryant when he died, and then, like tragically in his helicopter crash.
Jumped on it.
Everyone jumped on it, and there were so many conflicting reports. Start out with his whole family died, and it was like, oh, 3 of his children died, blah 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 blah. And you know, it's so disrespectful for like the parents or the other people that died, not just Kobe and his daughter. It's like, well, now that's a bunch of lives you didn't recognize. And something that should never have happened.
Yay, happy fun times.
This podcast has been nothing but like just, it's melancholy.
Yeah.
It's a good change of mood. The podcast will be just edited where just everything is dark and just there's
black and white.
Yeah, sad music. Yeah, it's like how all the old timey films would cut out and shit. Well, we are hitting the 2 hour.
I think Holly Fisher edged it out though.
How long was the Holly Fisher
I think hers
podcast?
was 2 hours and 8 minutes or something.
I do want to reflect though a little bit before, if that's fine. Like, we've been getting a lot of good reception on the Connor Kelly video.
That
Connor and
Whitney.
Whitney.
Was big.
And I think that has a lot to do with like just networking.
And
like Connor was like, "Hey guys, check this out." And Connor Freetag and Bennett and all of them watched it. Like, I don't know how many videos like Connor Freetag and Bennett Crandall actually watch. I don't know if they watch the full videos of all of our videos.
But they messaged us, yo, you know, like Bennett like asked.
Yeah, he DM'd us.
Where we could like watch it, and where he could like watch it, and then Connor DM'd us like, oh yeah, I like the Connor Kelly podcast, you know.
Yeah. And then like, has anyone like gotten back to you about like their family watching it or?
No, I don't think so.
Because I know Holly talked about that, and then Megan talked about that, but I haven't heard from them if like their family have watched it. On the Megan video, however, there was someone, their host family, commented on that. That was crazy.
Their first one, which is weird because she kind of like talked smack on the first.
What happened with? I wondered what happened with that.
Like she only said that it didn't work out, and I don't know if that was
I didn't want to push it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a conflict of like they liked each other or if it was like another reason.
Or like a program thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Program problem. I don't know.
All the listeners, hit that bell button, hit that like button, and tell your friends. Share with your friends. Share on Twitter, share on Facebook.
We now have a possible listener, Mrs. Mick.
Oh, yeah.
If Mrs. Mick is listening right now, hit that subscribe.
Hit that subscribe and comment down below.
I swear, if I see Shit and Mick has subscribed to you, I'm going to lose it.
Well, it's crazy to think our videos are going to be filled with Southern videos now.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Crazy. I wonder if she'll have to adjust her teaching so it's more coherent for Southern folk.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys. Logan, you want to put in your plug? Have you thought of your plug?
I'll just plug all the country boys out there.
Country boys.
We farming.
We farming. Hashtag we farming.
Gotta wear my sunglasses inside because my future's too bright.
If you listen to the entirety of this podcast, comment down below hashtag we farmin'.
Hashtag we farmin'.
Hashtag we farmin'.
Hashtag we farmin'. And we'll come out with some Roeland we farmin' merch. And
We'll
give it
shout
to
you out
We'll shout
in the
you
next
out.
podcast.
Yeah, we'll do that. If you have any interest in being a guest or have ideas for us, by all
DM us.
means, DM us. We're
We
open
won't
for
shame you
ideas.
if we reject you.
No. I
And
mean,
we probably won't reject you, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, we're pretty open.
We're pretty desperate.
Please!
Obviously.
Please!
Please!
With the third string podcast boy out here, they're obviously desperate.
Okay,
Come on
okay,
now.
so, yeah. You know, Logan, while you were the third string
Yeah,
player,
exactly.
it's the substitute.
We wanted you on.
We wanted you on
Because we
anyway.
thought,
It
yeah.
was just like...
Kappa.
No, like, seriously. Like, we wanted you on because we thought, dude, Logan Damme would make for a good podcast. And
It's just
we
you
did.
you just had to come a little bit early.
Honestly, I think this is one of my favorite podcasts. Just because of how, like, we've talked about stuff for a long period of time, you know?
Yeah, and if you wonder why the camera is shaking so much up and down
Oh.
when Tai Young goes like this a lot, it's because there was a problem with charging the camera. Someone messed up. And
Yeah.
TPY Media did not come in clutch.
and we had to use my laptop webcam, and that baby's shaking a lot. So,
Yeah.
so
Maybe
Just have to like edit in post where it's like frame it like still.
you
Frame.
probably could edit it so that it's
Yeah, just
stabilized.
edit it for you.
just edit it. Just edit it, Roel. Why don't you just edit it, Roel?
That I'm still waiting for the edit it in Roel compilation.
I'm not doing that. That's like 15 hours. Of
It's like
Roel, edit in Joe Rogan sitting there, and then edit in like some fireworks happening here and there, and then edit in like a black hole opening it up, just sucking in everyone, and then like the whole camera just darkens out and goes out. Boom.
and then like potty rocker. No, that's gonna get demonetized.
No.
Copyright strike. Never mind.
Alright, so this has been Roel and Podcast episode 7.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, Logan.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and next week we're hopefully gonna get Dawson squared on. Dawson
Dawson
Holes,
squared.
Dawson Sadoff. That will be episode 8, and then episode 9. I mean, with Joaquin.
It's gonna be hard to do.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work. So that spot might actually be an open spot for someone. And episode 10 we have Connor Freetag and the unknown mystery guest. If you enjoy this podcast, please like and share it with all your friends. I mean, word of mouth is like the best way that we've thrived. I mean, you look at our track record. We went from like 40 subscribers to 50. So I mean, it's glad to know there's
50
actually
subscriber special.
You know, I was looking at DQ the other day, and Owen Miner said, "Hey, whoa, you have a podcast? Yeah, my sister told me." I'm like,
Wait, what?
Corinne? Like,
What did he say?
he said,
Oh,
that, I mean, that's just all he said.
I religiously listen to your podcast.
No, he did, I don't think he's a big fan. He just, like, mentioned it.
I wonder, like, just because we're so, like, I guess this is such a bad time to put it, because this is, like, the ending
Yeah,
hours
we're
of our
literally
podcast.
ending the video.
All right, guys. So put in the comments down below, hashtag WeFarmin', like, subscribe, share with your friends.
We'll shout you out if you say
We'll shout
We
you
Farmin'.
out. Well, because we have so much clout that's
Yeah,
worth it.
That's so cool. People
That's
are
so cool.
are lining up on the Roeland podcast because we're the coolest people ever. And it's totally not a blow to your reputation if you go on the Roeland podcast.
that
That cool. I mean, we've had a homecoming queen come on. We've had a Denmark student come. Denmark person.
Whitney
Whitney
Schweezo, come
Schweezo,
on.
Connor Kelly, Football, get SoundCloud artist.
Hunter Weirick,
Hunter
Max Meyer,
Logan Damme.
obviously
Logan Slammy.
Oh my
the
god.
second best Dammy. Come on now.
His
Not-
beard's growing out, dude.
Yeah.
Going out since quarantine, dude.
Okay.
Alright.
So thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. I think now this is like the longest episode.
Poggers.
If I don't cut out.
Logan Damme has broken perhaps another record. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll edit that in Roel if you say no or yes, I guess. So thank you guys for listening. Stay safe. Have a great night.
Good night.
See ya.